Opportunity comes knocking at the door of Jonathan VR. How will he respond? His Major League debut is next. Live from Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas, Comcast Sportsnet brings you Houston Astros baseball. Tonight, it's the Astros versus the first-place Oakland Athletics. Good evening, everybody. Bill Brown and Alan Ashby. Oakland is 9-0 against Houston. The Athletics come in first place by 3 games in the American League West. And the Astros now have made some changes, and they have a brand-new starting shortstop, 22-year-old Jonathan VR. Ash?
Jonathan VR, in the minor leagues to this point on the season, has been pretty good with the bat, hitting near 280. He's a guy that has a pretty nice on-base percentage, will draw his occasional walk, and he can steal some bags. So he not only fits in nicely with the ball club as a shortstop to play defensively, and he's got some great tools, but in terms of that leadoff man, he just might be the guy for this club.
At shortstop, the Astros have had problems with the fielding part of it. 24 errors by their shortstops combined this year.
Ronnie Cedeno has had the majority of those, 11 to this point. You remember Marwin Gonzalez early on in the season had 8 himself, though at times he played a pretty flashy and good shortstop. And then Jake Elmore of late, 5 more errors and one very costly yesterday. Jake Elmore trying to come up with a play here. Probably not a guy who has all the tools that you want to see from that everyday shortstop.
Jonathan VR had a good season going last year at AA Corpus Christi, and then he had a strikeout in a game, and in a fit of pique, he punched a door and broke his hand, and he was out for several weeks. So there have been issues with him. Apparently, he has smoothed out some of those, or he wouldn't be here right now.
Well, I think that's part of the competitive nature you want to see in a player. You want a guy who really cares about it, but you've got to have a guy who is mature enough to understand you don't hurt yourself, because that ultimately hurts your ball club. Jonathan VR, again, is a guy who's really gifted, and you can see he's got some pop in the bat as well. But the big thing that I think he brings along on that offensive side is that speed. It's a weapon you can't teach, and so everybody hoping that Jonathan VR is that guy that plugs the gap at shortstop, makes all the plays, routine plays, foremost among them, but brings that speed to the ball club as well.
Does indeed have a lot of talent, and this is his opportunity starting tonight. Layla Rahimi has more. Layla?
Well, thanks very much, gentlemen. And this is a special time, of course, for Jonathan VR. He is absolutely excited to be here. Certainly had that emotion when we talked to him in the clubhouse. And he brings what both Bo Porter and Jose Altuve called a very aggressive presence to this team, and we have the numbers to prove it. Here's a look at what he did at AAA Oklahoma City. VR hit .278 with the Red Sox, 8 home runs, 41 RBI, 342 on base percentage, and 31 stolen bases out of 38 attempts. That means he stole successfully 82% of the time. Bo Porter said that stolen base percentage is something he's looking forward to seeing. It is why he is hitting leadoff. He wants to see that speed on the base pass. Then you've got Jose Altuve to back it up. As for who he is, Jeff Luhnow said before the game that he plays with extreme confidence, and VR backs up that substance with some style. He also said that this is his time. He is ready. So we will get to see how ready he is in just a very short amount of time. Stay with us on Astros baseball, because when we return, we take a look at 6 degrees of Roy Oswalt. We don't mean Kevin Bacon, but actually Roy Oswalt. We'll explain. Pretty cool to see how it all comes together. That's coming up as we get ready for first pitch from Minute Maid Park. baseball here on Comcast Sportsnet as we get you ready for first pitch between the first game of this three-game set between the A's and the Astros. And before we do that, let's take you down memory lane to a time that may seem longer ago, but it was just 2010 when the Astros traded Roy Oswalt to the Philadelphia Phillies. And that set in place a series of events that leads us to be talking about the debut of Jonathan VR. Here's 6 degrees of Roy Oswalt. And it started with VR being acquired from the Phillies with J-Happ for Anthony Goes, and then in turn for Roy Oswalt. They immediately then acquired Brett Wallace. Anthony Goes went to the Blue Jays. That brought in Asher Wojciechowski. He was acquired from the Blue Jays with Ben Francisco in the J-Happ trade. Another name that is also of note, Nat Theron Guy. He was acquired from Tampa Bay for Ben Francisco and a partridge in a pear tree. We kid about that, but this is the case that the Astros are making to improve their prospects, and now we're seeing them. Jeff Luno also mentioned before the game, this is not the start of this, what with the debut of Jared Cozart and now Jonathan VR. This is the continuation. He said that also Jason Castro is to be included in this, another homegrown talent for the Astros. Jose Altuve, the same thing. So we're seeing the continuation of the youth movement, but VR, a big part of it nonetheless. Coming up, we get you ready for the new edition of the Astros infield and first pitch with Bill Brown and Alan Ashby when we return from Minute Maid Park.
Game lead over the Texas Rangers. The Rangers made a big trade today for Matt Garza from the Cubs. And this three-game series opens with Dallas Keuchel facing Coco Crisp. And there's ball one to Crisp. So Oakland with a 9-6 record in July, surviving on sturdy pitching, but not a whole lot of offense recently. Crisp has 9 homers this season. Keuchel goes to a 2-0 count on the speedy leadoff man who has 15 steals in 19 attempts.
Better throw strikes to these Oakland A's hitters. They are not among the best in terms of batting average, producing runs, but they'll draw their walks.
Ball 3 to Crisp. He's drawn 39 walks compared to 36 strikeouts for Coco. Crisp has hit .419 against Houston pitching with 3 homers and 8 runs batted in. He hit those 3 homers in the first 3-game series of the year between these two clubs here, April 5th, 6th, and 7th. 1 home run in each one of those games. He looks at a strike. The home plate umpire is Mark Wegner. 3-1 to Crisp. The Astros are 0-9 against Oakland. It's Wegner, Marvin Hudson, Jordan Baker, and Tim McClellan on the crew. They're 0-11 going back to prior to this year. There's a line shot headed for the left field corner. That's a fair ball. Extra bases for Crisp. Picked up by Jake Elmore. And that's a leadoff double for Crisp, his 15th two-base hit. Here's the starting lineup now for Bob Melvin's first place Oakland Athletics. Coco Crisp in center field, Chris Young in left, Jed Lowry at shortstop, Josh Donaldson at third base, Nate Fryman at first base, Derek Norris the catcher, Josh Reddick in right field, Grant Green at second base, Seth Smith the DH, the pitcher's Tommy Malone.
It is 25-year-old left-hander Dallas Keuchel on the hill, 4-5 on the year, 4.62 the ERA. Second start of his career and second start of the season against these Oakland A's. Got roughed up in that first one over 6 innings, allowing 6 earnings. Walked just 1 in that game.
Chris Young, the Houston native from Bel Air, is the batter. Matt Dominguez plays that grounder to his left and retires a man who was hitting .404 lifetime at Minute Maid Park.
Defensively for the Astros this evening, behind the dish, Jason Castro around the infield. Chris Carter gets the start at first base. Jose Altuve, Jonathan Villar in his big league debut at shortstop, and Matt Dominguez at third. In the outfield, Brandon Barnes in center, flanked by Justin Maxwell in right, and Jake Elmore getting a start this evening in left field.
Villar settling in at short in his major league debut. 22 years old from La Vega in the Dominican Republic. Just arriving from Oklahoma City. And it's Jed Lowry, who was the Astros shortstop last year and then traded to Oakland in the big offseason deal. Coming up here as a switch hitter, batting right, having a good season. In the dirt for ball 1 to Lowry. Lowry checks in at .291 for this game tonight with 7 homers, 37 runs batted in for Jed. He played a lot of second base earlier this season and some short, but now he's going to be pretty much the everyday shortstop. That's the plan for Bob Melvin after Adam Rosales was sent to AAA. Lowry is 2 for 7 against Dallas Keuchel in his career. Lowry's made 11 errors as a shortstop. Sure-handed player, formerly with Boston, from Stanford. Little chop goes back to the pitcher. Keuchel throws to Chris Carter for out number 2.
That leadoff double by Coco Crisp, kind of a revelation for him personally here in the month of July, hitting just .197. So he's had his struggles, but he has torn it up against Houston pitching.
Josh Donaldson has been the Athletics' best player this year. Very steady, a .303 average, 16 homers, 61 runs batted in, excellent glove work at third base, and an .877 OPS for Donaldson. He's hit .350 against left-handed pitching this season, among the best in the American League. The Athletics are 7th in the AL in runs scored with 436. That's the block of the pitch in the dirt by Castro on ball 1 to Donaldson. Donaldson's hit .306 against Houston pitching, 1 homer, 7 runs batted in.
Interesting world we live in, by the way. Aside from that very fine block by Jason Castro, stayed down nicely, and despite the ball coming up, able to keep it in front. Josh Donaldson on Twitter I should say this year, he is at Bringer of Rain 20. How about that for a
range winning?
Not sure where would you come up with that name, Bringer of Rain.
Not too sure.
Must have hit some tremendous pop flies. That's all I can say.
Maybe that's it. Well, if he brings rain in here tonight, we have a story.
Yes, we do.
He is 4 for his last 31, covering 8 games, but he has plenty of company. This Oakland club has just 39 hits in its previous 8 games. That ties the fewest in the last 34 years in an 8-game span. This one in the dirt again. Castro keeps it close, and it's 3-0. Jason's done some digging early in this ball game. Keuchel bouncing a few.
Fortunate to get this kick to go up the third base side. That shortens the throw and makes it awfully difficult for Crisp to try to take third base. That ball bounces up the first base line. Crisp is probably long gone.
Now 3-0 with Crisp at second and Donaldson the batter with Fryman in the on-deck circle. Donaldson was a strong consideration for All-Star honors this year, but was bypassed. He looks at it, and it's strike one. Donaldson has 108 hits this season. 370 on base average. He plays Billy ball very well. Billy Beane, the longtime general manager of the Oakland A's, really looks over those on base averages when he considers players. That's trickled foul, and it's a 3-ball, 2-strike count. And Donaldson was obtained in a trade by Beane from Chicago in 08. Multiplayer deal with the Cubs. Rich Harden, Chad Gaudin deal. Donaldson had a career batting average of .232 coming into this season. He's been a revelation.
Hit .241 in 75 games a year ago. So it is hard to figure how a guy makes this sort of a turnaround, but it's been certainly something the Oakland A's have been very happy about.
Keuchel is 0-1 against Oakland with a 5.25 ERA in his career. He lost to Bartolo Colon here on May 26th, giving up 4 earned runs in 6 innings. Dallas has pitched well in each of his last 2 starts on the road, at Texas and at Tampa Bay. Got no decisions in both of those. And Bo Porter and Doug Brocail hoping he keeps up the good work. Dallas with 4-5 as his 1 lost record, and Donaldson takes ball 4 on the first walk of the game. Keuchel's been very competitive. His ERA 4.62 really doesn't speak to the kind of consistency he's had. He had 5 consecutive really good quality starts from May 31st through June 21st. He's been in and out of the rotation. Opened this season as the long man in the bullpen and had several outstanding efforts there.
What a lengthy conversation, and got to have some basis for that conversation. I would guess that to come from the work in between starts.
Left-handed batters have lit him up in July to the tune of 444. But now he's facing the right-handed hitting Nate Fryman, who was with the Astros as a Rule 5 draft choice in spring training. And he was a waiver claim by Oakland March 23rd when the Astros ascertained they didn't have room for him on the 25-man opening day roster. He's hit .264 with 2 homers. He's driven in 17. He homered off Keuchel here May 26th and drove in 3 in that game. Hit his first 2 major league homers against Houston pitchers. At strike 1 to Fryman. Fryman's hit .231 against Astros pitching this year. He was drafted by the Padres in 09. The Astros picked him up over the winter in the Rule 5 draft after he had a glittering year for San Antonio in the AA Texas League last year. There's a shot, and it's gloved by Dominguez. That leadoff double by Crisp turns out to be a 0 for Dallas Keuchel. to you by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Sizzling summer night here in downtown Houston, Texas. And it is game 4 of this 6-game homestand. The Astros trying to snap a 5-game losing streak with this starting lineup for Bull Porter's club tonight. Jonathan Villar makes his major league debut at shortstop. He leads off with Jose Altuve at second base. Jason Castro hits third at catcher. It's Chris Carter at first base. Justin Maxwell in right field. J.D. Martinez the DH. Brandon Barnes in center. Matt Dominguez at third base. Jake Elmore in left field.
On the mound, it is left-hander Tommy Milone, 26 years of age. He's been pretty effective, 8-8 on the year, 4.24 the ERA. And making his 4th career start against Houston, he's 1-0 lifetime. 2-3, make that 2-1 in his last 3 starts. His last start at Pittsburgh, touched up and didn't get out of the 3rd inning against those very good Pittsburgh Pirates.
Now the applause is for the rookie. First major league plate appearance for Jonathan Villar. And he takes that pitch. It's strike 1 from Tommy Milone. Coming up from AAA Oklahoma City, where his numbers were 278, 8 homers, 41 runs batted in, a 342 on base percentage, 31 steals. He chases that one, and it's a count of 0-2 for Milone, who's walked only 28 in 116 and 2/3 innings.
Brownie, don't you think that applause there for VR is pretty telling from the Houston fans who want to see some of this future?
I really do. I think the crowd is pumped up by this excitement of bringing a 22-year-old to the major leagues, and tomorrow night we get to see the first home start of Jared Cosart. He is a local product. There'll be more excitement for that game. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes now for Jonathan Villar. He was signed by the Phillies in 08, traded to Houston, as Leila Rahimi told us, in the Roy Oswalt deal in July of 2010. And he fouls it back. He is an aggressive offensive player who makes things happen, has good range, a plus arm at shortstop, plus speed. More power as a right-handed batter.
That was a good aggressive swing.
And he takes ball 3. 3 balls, 2 strikes for Villar.
Looks calm and casual at the plate. Heart's got to be beating a bit. These are special moments.
Strikeout for Tommy Milone.
Defensively behind Tommy Milone for these Oakland A's tonight in game 1 of the 3-game series. Derek Norris behind the plate. Pretty good defensive player around the infield. Nate Fryman gets the start at first. Grant Green at second. Jed Lowry and Josh Donaldson on the left side. And the outfield, Coco Crisp in center. Josh Reddick in right, and Chris Young is in left.
Jose Altuve is the batter. He and Villar played together in the minor leagues at AA Corpus Christi. 281 for Jose. 3 homers, 30 runs batted in. And a 314 on base average for Jose. Showing bunt, he brings the infielders in and looks at ball 1. Jose had a couple of 2-hit games over the weekend against the Seattle Mariners. Jose's hit .333 against Oakland pitching. 1-1, and that is saying something because Oakland pitching right now has the best ERA in the American League, 3.58. Donaldson moving over close to the base at third. It's a 2-ball, 1-strike count.
Early on in the season, of course, the A's had seen a lot of the Houston Astros at the time, swinging the bats very well against Houston pitching. The A's were the leading team scoring in the American League. That's changed drastically. But it's that pitching side that you mentioned, Brownie, that has led this club.
Yeah, they could have plummeted, but Bob Melvin's pitchers have been extremely good. In July, they have an ERA of 2.57. But they have only averaged 3.2 runs per game in July. They're 9-6 this month. Outside to Altuve. 3-2. Jose has walked 19 times. Tommy Milone, 26 years old. He was drafted by Washington in 08. Oakland got him in the Gio Gonzalez trade in December of 2011. He was 13-10 last year for the A's. And he bounces that for ball 4. So a couple of 3-2 counts to open the game for Milone. And Altuve's aboard for Jason Castro.
A lot of times when you see a club that's playing well, and the Oakland A's have played well again this year in first place, as you talked about, you find that they haven't been decimated by injury. Their pitching staff is quite intriguing. 5 guys, Colon, Griffin, Malone, Parker, and Straley, have accounted for all but 5 of their starts on the season. The other 5 starts pushed out and picked up. For the moment, Brett Anderson, that other guy, a left-hander. And those are the only 5 starts not to come from the 5 we mentioned.
Jason Castro, 268, has a dozen homers, 32 runs batted in. That's some durability for the pitching staff. Castro looks at ball 1. Jason has 26 doubles. That's tied for 5th best in the American League. Mariners snapped his 5-game hitting streak yesterday. He went 3 for 13 over the weekend. Chris Carter is on deck. And, you know, looking at this 5-man rotation you talked about, Ash, as the count goes to 1-1. Clearly the big year belongs to Bartolo Colon, who shut out the Angels yesterday. His ERA is 2.52. That's 2nd best in the American League, and he's won 13.
He's quite an amazing story. Age of 40, and fastball velocity has gotten better here in the last year.
Castro takes it. It's right in for a strike. It's 1-2.
Of course, his name is surfaced numerous times in the biogenesis scandal, and I guess the Oakland A's have to be concerned about how that might play out.
Well, a lot of teams have to be concerned after what happened with Ryan Braun being handed a suspension lasting the rest of the season. That coming down today. So there are those other names out there, and everybody's waiting to see which shoe will drop next. There's A-Rod, there's Nelson Cruz, and several other names have been implicated, but it's only rumor to this point. 21 steals for Altuve in 6, and he's been caught 6 times, but Malone has been extremely difficult for base stealers throughout his career. It's not a good idea to run on Tommy Malone unless you really get a great jump and you're confident that you can make it. And his move is not described as a great one, but for some reason it holds the base runners pretty close.
Well, here's the deal. Guys who try to steal on left-handers will go on first move. Anyone will tell you. It's not about waiting until you think he's now going to the plate. You go first move. And if he happens to come over, he's got you.
Malone's 1-0 against Houston with a 4.66 ERA. This is his 3rd start of the year against the Astros. That time, as the pitch is fouled, Altuve was moving back to first base, so Malone's been difficult to read for the runners. Astros have lost 16 of their last 20, and overnight they got quite a bit younger. And we want to pass along our best to Ronnie Cedeno and Carlos Pena. They did a lot of good things in the Astros clubhouse, very well respected by the younger players, and we wish them well. Runner going. Pitch is high. The throw skips in and on through into center field. Altuve heads for 3rd base on a steal and a throwing error by Derek Norris. It's only the 2nd error of the season for Norris. Pitch was ball 2.
Talk about the fact that guys will go on first move on lefties. See that as soon as the foot started was when Altuve tried to make that break from first base. It's just a do or die guess, and in this case the guess works out for the Astros.
Now the infielders come in. Norris has thrown out 6 of 32 now this season, and the infielders will try to make it tougher for Castro with a 2-2 count. Castro's driven in 32. He's hit .464 against Oakland pitching with 3 homers, 6 runs batted in. Chris Carter's on deck. Castro's down on strikes. That's number 2 for Malone in the strikeout department.
Costly strikeout too, and Malone just stayed right on the hands of Castro.
That leaves it up to the former Oakland Athletic, Chris Carter. Carter, the Astros home run leader with 18, has a .228 batting average. He's second on the club in runs batted in with 47. He's hit 125 against Oakland pitching with 3 runs batted in. Altuve at third with 2 outs. Strike one to Carter. Malone lost his last start at Pittsburgh July 10th, 5-0, giving up 7 hits and 3 runs in 2 2/3 innings. He's a master of the changeup. In the air, and the right fielder, Josh Reddick, is calling to put it away for out number 3, and it's scoreless after 1.
And Kevin Eschenfelder brings the heat with special guests and in-depth analysis on Sports Talk Live. It is every night at 5 o'clock, only on Comcast Sportsnet. And just to give you a little bit of background on why Jonathan VR, who was so complimented and made Astros fans excited to see him come up, is here so early. Bo Porter said before the game, with the consistency and inconsistency we had seen out of our team at the shortstop position, we wanted to give our potential shortstop of the future in VR those at-bats. And he said, why give those at-bats to anyone else when we can hopefully see what we need to see out of him now? So there's a little bit of background, Brownie and Ash, on why he is here a little bit sooner than maybe everybody thought.
Thanks for the explanation, Layla. And it's Derek Norris leading it off now in a scoreless game. Norris has not hit a whole lot this year, but he's a good defensive player. He fouls it back, strike one, batting average .204.
I guess we could take those words and turn it to how much longer might we wait on some of the other future pieces and when they may show up in an Astros uni.
Well, Jeff Luhnow is going to be joining us in the 3rd inning tonight. We may get some more insight. That's off the hands and up the middle, diving for it, VR, but it's on through into center field for a leadoff single for Norris. Layla?
Well, guys, just a little bit more to add to that. We've seen the Astros give their young players huge opportunities. We talk about the switch-hitting leadoff hitters. Robbie Grossman comes to mind. He got his chance to prove himself at the big league level. Jimmy Paredes doing the same, and that was something Bo Porter said he really wanted to make sure he did. He said, I was at Texas when Michael Young was told, we're not sending you down. We're going to make sure that you have the time to be the everyday second baseman. And Bo said, you see how that turns out. So he's hoping to do the same thing with VR.
Josh Reddick, the batter. Reddick takes, and it is strike one to the outfielder who injured his wrist earlier this season right here. Sprained his right wrist. He went into that foul territory wall outside the right field line. Owner Jim Crane and Jeff Luhnow talking right now in the general manager's box. Reddick has not quite been the same since that early season injury, according to reports. It's in the dirt, and it's 1-1. He's one of those guys with those low numbers to this point in the season. The Athletics would welcome a return to top form for Josh Reddick, who last year hit 32 homers and drove in 85 runs. And he won a Gold Glove last year as well. Bouncer shortstop, VR with the toss. Altuve, his former double play, made it double A, and they turned the double play. That's a nice second inning opportunity for VR to settle in at shortstop.
You could feel this crowd getting excited for the double play, yes, but I think there was more to that, as the intensity of that anticipation by the crowd, I think, said a lot about seeing VR and start a little defense right here.
Routine play. Close call at first. And Keuchel gets the double play ball. Now he faces Grant Green. Green shoots a line drive to right field, trying for his first major league hit, but it's caught by Justin Maxwell. It's no runs, a hit. And we go to the bottom of the second inning with no score. To Miller time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Well, the Astros got a double play ball by their new shortstop, VR, to Altuve, to Carter. And now the Astros come up in the home second inning, trying to get some runs on the board for Dallas Keuchel. It'll be Maxwell, Martinez, and Barnes batting against the lefty Tommy Malone. Well, the Astros ran up against some stiff competition on the mound, with Seattle sweeping them over the weekend with Hisashi Iwakuma. A strong game Saturday, winning that one 4-2, giving up 2 runs in 7 innings. And King Felix Hernandez yesterday, 6 shutout frames. Now this tough Oakland pitching staff. Malone the lead man in this 3-game series. Jared Parker goes tomorrow night. Maxwell rolls over on that one. It's a foul strike 1 to Justin at 243 with 1 homer, 6 runs batted in. He's on a 3-game hitting streak. Came off the 7-day disabled list for concussion last Saturday. Malone throws inside. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. In that Texas Rangers trade earlier today, they acquired right-handed starter Matt Garza from the Cubs for infielder Mike Olt, Class A right-hander C.J. Edwards, Justin Grimm, who's been in the Rangers rotation, and then 1 or 2 players to be named later. Seems to be a pretty good take for the Cubs, because Garza is headed for free agency, actually.
Always trying to load up. When you're struggling as an organization, load up with some young talent. And Matt Garza is a talented pitcher, but he hasn't been there to go every 5th day for the Cubbies. But he's obviously a valuable guy. But I think obviously the Cubs make a good deal in that transaction.
Well, you know, the Oakland Athletics must be fishing around. Ground ball back. No, on through Donaldson. And into the left field corner. Here's Maxwell. And they got a shot at him, but the throw's offline, and he's safe. Oh, Donaldson unable to play it. And it got by him and allowed Maxwell to get all the way to second base.
This looked like a routine play with that ground ball to third, and makes it all the more impressive for me in watching Justin Maxwell go. Yeah, there was some movement had to be made by Donaldson, but that was not a big league play defensively. But I'll tell you what, Justin Maxwell takes off, and he is already digging for second base. And as he moves in that direction, you see some of that athleticism that could make him such a player.
It's ruled a double. It's the 9th of the year for J-Max. First hit for the Astros, and the batter's J.D. Martinez. He takes off for third, and here's a throw from Norris. A steal of third base by Justin Maxwell, his third steal of the year.
And need I say more? I mean, this guy is loaded with tools. Can he translate those tools into being a star player? Can do a lot of things. That is long-legged speed.
Now Martinez is waiting. The infield lays back. He fouls it. JD is 3 for 8 in his career against Malone with a homer and 3 runs batted in. Third steal for Maxwell, and this could be really big, putting him at third base with nobody out. We talked about how difficult it is to steal a base off Malone, but Maxwell made a big stolen base move there to get to third. Quite often it is easier to steal third than to steal second against a fine left-handed pitcher.
The lead at second is so much better than what you can get at first, generally speaking. If infielders lay off, you can take an extra early step.
J.D. Martinez went 1 for 6 in this Seattle series. He's driven in runs in 5 of his last 9 games. He looks that one over, and it's ball 2 with Brandon Barnes on deck. The Astros now have used 42 different players this season. Jared Cosart, who pitched so very well in his major league debut at Tampa Bay, will be up tomorrow night. You know, the writers were looking for Jared Cosart around the ballpark today, but it's my understanding, Ash, he was optioned to AAA Oklahoma City after his start at Tampa Bay. He has to stay down in the minor leagues for 10 days before returning to the big leagues, unless he's returning because of an injury to another pitcher, which is not the case. So there was that outstanding major league debut July 12th, and that means he's not allowed in the ballpark, at least in uniform in the Astros clubhouse, until tomorrow. So he's not here today. He could be in the stands with his family. That would be allowed. Ground ball, and Maxwell comes home. Lowry takes the out at first and doesn't get it. A low throw, and it's 1-0 Houston. Fryman unable to pick that one out of the dirt as Maxwell scores, and he really helped to create that run with his legs.
Yeah, Fryman got challenged, and I think it's all the tougher for a first baseman when an infielder takes something off the throw. Not a whole lot on this throw, just kind of a lob job. And it doesn't bounce out of the dirt the same way a throw with a lot of velocity on it will bounce. Martinez takes advantage, and the Astros get the first run.
And Martinez picks up a run batted in on that play, and it's an error on Lowry, his 14th of the year. But an RBI because Maxwell was running on the ball when it was hit. Now Brandon Barnes. Maxwell takes off. That one's hit in the air to right center field. Or Martinez took off, rather, and there's the catch by Reddick. So J.D. with a jump decided to follow suit after J-Max stole third. He comes back, and it's out number 1.
Well, it looks like the Astros are going to try to buck the trend on Malone and send some runners.
Sure does. Very aggressive tone set by the Astros here in the early going. Altuve stole in the first inning. 2 steals in 2 innings. And here's Matt Dominguez. Matt's the club RBI leader with 48. He has 11 homers and a .232 batting average. Picked up an RBI on a foul sacrifice fly in the 9th inning of yesterday's game, a 12-5 loss. He was a pinch hitter, and Justin Maxwell was able to score on that foul sac fly.
I think Dominguez owes Dave Tremblay a dinner on the road.
Yeah. He takes, and it's ball 1. It could have been the final out of the game if Maxwell had been put out at home plate. But Dave Tremblay said, well, the score was 12-2 at the time, so why not take a risk? Why not try to get my hitter an RBI? And it worked out as Maxwell made a great slide to the back of home plate head first.
It's a gutsy, cagey veteran making that statement.
I bet it is. 2-0 to Matt. Dominguez, a .206 hitter against Oakland pitching with 3 homers, 4 runs batted in.
I think there's a lot riding on whether this young third baseman can get things together with the bat.
It's 2-1. He's been in a downturn lately, but had a good series against Seattle, going 3 for 7 with 3 runs batted in.
He's shown that he can play and play extremely well defensively at third. He's also shown that he has pop in the bat, but needs some more consistency. He's still a young player.
2-2.
The fact of the matter is, with Matt Dominguez, you're talking about a guy who's younger than George Springer, who we haven't even caught a glimpse of yet.
Jake Elmore's on deck. Astros are 3-12 in the month of July. They've averaged 3.7 runs per game. Throw goes over to first. JD back in head first. It's been a rough stretch for them. They faced some very good teams along the way. That road trip took them to Texas, St. Louis, and Tampa Bay, all excellent teams. They just played a very hot team in the Seattle Mariners, and now another first place club in Oakland. And they go on the road to Toronto, Baltimore, and Minnesota. That's looped to right field. Reddick closing on it. Reddick laying out for it, but yeah, he got a call. Boy, it looked like he might have trapped it, but he really went for it and got the out call from Marvin Hudson. Terrific catch by Reddick.
Josh Reddick hurt himself right here at Minute Maid Park early in the season, crashing into that railing in the concrete on the right field side. But that is a heck of an effort, and you can see on the replay that he got the glove under the baseball. This makes a whale of a play.
Boy, degree of difficulty very high as Josh Reddick diving to the backhand side. There was a lot of white showing, but he had that glove underneath the baseball.
There's a guy that is extremely talented, great numbers a year ago, but he's had a rough season this year.
Jake Elmore moving to left field for this game. Takes strike one. He played shortstop yesterday. 274, 1 homer, 5 runs batted in. Jake had been playing quite a bit of shortstop in recent weeks. A rough game yesterday on that error that opened the floodgates for 7 Seattle runs in the second inning. But he also had a single, a double, and a walk in the game. Scored 2 runs. So it would appear now, and it's been made clear by Bo Porter, that Jonathan VR is the everyday shortstop, that Jake moves into a utility type role, and his talents allow him to play a position like left field where he is tonight. He's been playing primarily second base this year at AAA Oklahoma City, combining with Jonathan VR, and maybe he could play third occasionally now and then. But, you know, with his 343 on base average, Ash, this might work pretty well for the Astros to have Elmore in this number 9 spot. He has the abilities to work the count, to get on base. He runs pretty well, and to use his talents that way.
Well, we've talked about it. The fact that Elmore, with the bat, he's a pretty capable player. Not going to drive in at load of runs and hit the home run, but A lot of utility players don't fit that bill anyway. In fact, I would have a hard time naming somebody who has. But I do think that he could be good in this regard. I didn't feel that he was a guy that is long-term going to be a shortstop.
That was not his, quote, natural position. It is Villar's natural position. It's 2 balls and a strike. Villar on deck here in the Astros' second inning. Maxwell opened with a double, a ground ball that got by Donaldson. He seemed to be right in between backhanding the ball and trying to get in front of it. And it got under his glove. And Maxwell stole third and scored on a ground ball to short. An error on Lowry. That's a soft foul ball. And it takes the count to 2-2. The Astros have been outscored by Oakland in the season series now, 68-32. The Oakland ERA against Houston is 3.22, sending the Athletics out to a 9-0 record in the season series. Ground ball sharply hit. Lowry lays out, flips to second. Beautiful play by Lowry, who gets it to Green for the force play at second on Martinez. And it's 1 run, 1 hit, 1 error, and 1 left. Good play by Reddick as well. 1-0 Houston.
A's 1-0, and we want to remind you to tune into Chevy Hometown Kids every Saturday morning at 9:30 on CSN. Chevy Hometown Kids, where it's not about the score but the experience. Let's send it back upstairs. Bill Brown, Alan Ashby, and a special guest. Gentlemen.
Thanks, Layla. Jeff Luhnow, the Astros general manager, joining us. We've seen Jonathan Villar now start his first major league double play. Fans excited about that, having him in uniform at age 22 tonight, Jeff, making his debut. And it's always a difficult decision, isn't it? When is a guy ready to come to the big leagues?
It is difficult, but, you know, we're fortunate that Tony DeFrancesco was our manager up here last year. And so when he says someone's ready, to me, he knows, because he's been here and he's seen what it takes to succeed up here. So he told us Jonathan's ready. I believe him.
What do you think made Jonathan more ready this year than he might have been after last season?
Well, a little bit more experience. I mean, he dealt with some adversity last year, got through it. I think he was disappointed he didn't make the team starting this year. Went down there, struggled for about 2 weeks, but figured out a way to get out of it.
Adam Everett hit him some ground balls before batting practice tonight. He said just slow down. He seemed to be doing exactly that on that play.
You know, he's got an ability to slow the game down, and I think that's important, because at this level you've got to do that. This game happens at such a high speed, but he has all the tools. He's got a plus arm. He's got good hands, good feet. This guy's really got everything it takes to become an elite shortstop.
Jeff, what's your reaction when you hear the crowd here in Houston get excited. You could tell there was a difference when they welcomed VR to the plate, and when a ground ball headed his way, the first one that he was to be able to handle, turn it into a double play. How does that make you feel in terms of maybe more of the youngsters coming along?
I think our fans here have an appreciation for what we're doing. We've got a lot of young, exciting players in the minors, and when they get a chance to see them up here, especially a player like him that's going to excel both ways, it's fun.
And now everybody's asking you, all right, who's next?
Well, Cozart's next tomorrow night. I'm excited for that.
Boy, was that an easy one.
Well, how could he top what he did in Tampa Bay? And just a terrific debut for him there. But now a special feeling because he is a kid from this area.
It really is. To be making your Minute Maid Park debut, being from here, it's got to be special for him. I think it was good that he was able to start his career on the road, get the jitters out, and obviously he pitched very well, and I think he's going to have a great night tomorrow night too.
Looking throughout the farm system, though, overall it's really been a tremendous year for the minor leaguers, hasn't it?
Well, a lot of good win-loss records out there and a lot of standout performances, players that have really performed at or even above our expectations. So that's what you hope for in a year like this.
Do you have some other pitchers, for example, that you feel like are reasonably close to where Jared Cozart was as you decide to call him up?
I do think so. And again, a conversation I had with Tony a couple days ago. Brad Peacock has been pitching exceptionally well in AAA, and I think if we had a spot in the rotation, he would be a guy we'd look at. And Asher Wojciechowski has been dominating AAA after dominating AA. So those are two guys right there that you could see plugging into the big league rotation. Tony thinks they're both very close to being able to help us right now.
Doesn't that speak so very well for a player that he can dominate at two levels? Usually after that move up, that can be a struggling time.
It can be, and you know, sometimes they will go to a new level and succeed for a couple weeks, and then adjustments will be made and they'll struggle. But it's nice that those guys have been successful, and see the same thing with George Springer.
There's a walk to Coco Crisp, walk number 2.
I'll get to one in a moment. We've got some intrigue when it comes to that 6 degrees of Roy Oswalt.
And now the benefits are coming in, as you see those deals and how they spiraled on down. Brett Wallace is here. He's had a very nice run. Asher, you mentioned. The other player, Theron Geith, I don't know much about him.
Yeah, we got him over here from in the Ben Francisco trade. So, you know, there were a lot of players came into our system last year through the trades over the last 2 years, and it's nice that they're having success, moving up the system, and finally starting to get here.
We'll just keep the heat coming. George Springer's a guy that everybody has their interest piqued about, and I think fans are just dying to see the guy. How close do you think he is?
Well, he's been in AAA for just about a month now, and he's having a lot of success, and that's a great sign. We'd like to see about another month maybe, and then make an evaluation, because, as I said, you know, sometimes you get off to a good start at a new level, they make adjustments, and you got to work through it. But he's certainly a position player that we think is going to be here for a long time. So we're in no rush to get him up here. We know that when he comes, he's going to stay.
Does a guy like Yasiel Puig with the Dodgers pique your interest in that kind of scenario with George Springer?
Well, they're different players, but yeah, I mean, this is what you hope for. A player will come up and have success and immediately add a spark to the team and help the team win. That's what we're looking for from Jared. That's what we're looking for from Jonathan VR and all these guys that come up. And collectively, we think we've got enough guys in the minors. They start coming up, combine them with the guys we have, some free agents we can go out and sign, that this team can be very, very competitive over the course of the next 2 years.
Tremendous numbers for George Springer after he had terrific numbers also at AA Corpus Christi. It's been said throughout the years, Jeff, about baseball that when you call up a player trying to judge him in terms of September results or spring training results, those are the most difficult times of the year to try to judge players, and they can certainly yield some results that you might think would project one way and they don't turn out that way.
You're right. You get a lot of false positives in September performance and spring training performance. So, you know, we like to see the guys in the throes of the summer, in the June, July, August time frame to really perform in that environment. And I think we're seeing a lot of that this year. So the system is in good shape, and I think hopefully VR and Cozart will be two examples of what's to come.
What have you thought about Brandon Barnes, who's shown great defensive ability over the year? And I'll let this play out.
Altuve goes back to his left and gets the force out at second with a shift on. 2 outs.
But again, on Brandon Barnes, he's been so good defensively. He's had moments with the bat, but suddenly here this past week, he comes up with a cycle of 5-hit game. You get a chance to maybe get a glimpse of what you hope he can do offensively. How intrigued are you there?
I'm intrigued. I was intrigued last year when he was tearing up AA, and then we promoted him to AAA, and he started tearing up AAA, and then we promoted him to big leagues, and he had a good September. You know, with a guy like Hinton who has such skills defensively, you can wait on the bat a little bit longer. It's the reason why he was in the minors all those years, and we were waiting for his bat to develop. And I think it's still developing before our eyes right now.
Well, it was a lot of fun to watch. There's no question about it. And he possesses that element of speed and aggressiveness, and just a guy that I think we all are just looking to see that bat come alive.
Dominguez backs up and shoots it over to first to get Lowry. Jeff, thanks so much for joining us. Thanks for giving us insight.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
1-0 Astros.
Tonight through the 12th, the Astros take on the Texas Rangers for the last time at Minute Maid Park this season. The series features a big and bright Friday night on the 9th and a Texas Country Street Fest before the game on the 10th. Call 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit astros.com for tickets. Bill and Alan, back to you.
Thanks, Layla. We always look forward to those Astros-Rangers games. That's August 9th through the 12th, especially with this tight AL West race right now. Oakland was never in first place last year until the last day of the season. And now with a 3-game lead and having led for a long time now, it's a totally different role for the Oakland Athletics. And will they make a trade now after the Rangers pulled the Matt Garza deal earlier today? That's a question many people are asking. As Jonathan Villar comes around for the second time in this game. He struck out on a 3-2 pitch in the first. And he bunts. Along bare hands, and he is on with his first major league hit. A bunt single for Jonathan Villar.
That's fun to see. And there's a guy that believes in his wheels. Now, maybe 30, 40 years from now, as he talks to the grandkids, that'll be a liner to the gap for his first major league hit. But, boy, you'll take that bunt single. If you can run like that, why not? And I think it shows you what the Astros are looking forward to right now.
We were told he had about 20 bunt hits at Oklahoma City. That's a high number. And he had 31 steals there as well. Now he's aboard for Jose Altuve, who walked. Altuve fouls it for strike one.
What the Astros have not done well with the stolen base this year, and they're about in the middle of the pack in terms of total stolen bases. They have not run successfully because they've been thrown out a bunch. And got to stay away from that. Now, just because VR has stolen a bunch of bags on the minor league level, once you come on the big league scene, it's still about successful base stealing.
31 for 38 at Oklahoma City, 82%. The Astros with Altuve stealing second in the first inning and Maxwell stealing third in the second are 2 for 2 in base stealing in this game. They're ninth in stolen bases in the American League with 55 now. And they've been caught more than any other team. They've been thrown out 31 times. But Jeff Luhnow yesterday, when he announced that Jonathan VR would be making his debut, cited the speed element that he would be bringing to the ball club. He's going. Here's the throw from Norris. Safe at second. First major league steal for VR. And his legs are churning here in the Astros third.
Can't you just hear it in this crowd's reaction? This looks like this could be fun. Kids may be playing in the minor leagues, but don't think that it is so far from what you're watching on the big league level.
This team is playing with a lot of energy tonight. 1-1 to Altuve. Castro on deck. Push butt up the first base line, goes foul. 1-2. Jose Altuve. Even though the Carlos Correa era may not be too many years away from starting, the first overall pick in the draft a little over a year ago, performing very well at Class A Quad Cities. This is Jonathan VR's time now.
Suddenly have the attack of the bunt people.
Foul back by Altuve. Still a 1-ball, 2-strike count.
We've seen a lot of this lately, but Altuve with an obvious effort to hit the ball toward the right field side.
It's a relatively young outfield or infield grouping now for the Astros tonight with Dominguez, VR, Altuve, and Carter. For Bo Porter. VR was edging further toward third base and Malone stepped off.
Not a fan of that move that Major League Baseball allows the pitcher to turn in that direction with no infielder there to throw to. I think if you turn, you need to throw.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Tomorrow night starting pitcher Jared Cosart is 23. Jose Altuve just turned 23. Matt Dominguez will turn 24 in late August. Jonathan VR is 22. It's a young group. Chris Carter, the first baseman tonight, is 26. Melvin's club on the road this season has played better than 500 ball, 27 and 26. They won all 6 games in this ballpark. Now it's a full count for Altuve. 50 pitches have been thrown by Tommy Malone. Bob Melvin's club with the shutout effort from Bartolo Colon against the Angels yesterday. Gave its bullpen a day of rest and has 4 complete games. And the A's have authored 9 shutouts this season. Out to center field, crisp. In for the catch. 1 out. And it's Jason Castro moving into the box next. Well, there'll be a lot to watch in the next 9 days on the trade front, Ash.
That's exactly what VR is doing right here. Just checking and seeing on that rather routine depth fly ball to center field. You figure you have no chance to go, so you start halfway. But with the speed of VR, he puts a little pressure on the defense, moves back in, and bluffs on the tag. Yeah, it's gonna. Well, it's always fun. It's fun to speculate and see what might happen. The dominoes start to fall this afternoon.
That may trigger more moves. Castro struck out in the first inning. Foul ball for strike one. Well, Garza was considered to be the #1 target for contending teams. And he's a pitcher who's World Series tested. So obviously he brought a big price for the Chicago Cubs in their deal with the Texas Rangers. The Rangers addressed that postseason pitching situation now by getting him in the rotation. Darvish has been out with an injury. They should be getting him back fairly soon, according to reports.
What's a long season, isn't it? You can look back early on. The Texas Rangers pitching was what they were all about this year.
Yeah.
And yet injuries devastating that staff, and they become the club that has to pull the trigger on a Matt Garza deal.
That typically is not the type of trade the Oakland Athletics would make. Taking on a player who's headed for free agency, a veteran guy, just for a postseason type run, and a guy who could help them win the World Series, that has not been at the forefront of what the Oakland thinking has been.
Well, the Oakland A's a year ago went out and got some young players, letting some of the guys who had played well get away. And that team turned into a championship club. So what they've done is exactly what you're saying. They tend to go for the younger guy, the fringe player, and see if they can turn him into a player who does well in the team atmosphere. And they just seemingly year after year do a nice job in that regard.
Strikeout number 3 for Malone. Yu Darvish was just activated, we see, from the 15-day disabled list. He'll start Monday against the Yankees without making a rehab start. Chris Carter hit a fly ball to right earlier. Fouling it back, strike one. But Oakland might be dealing for a starting pitcher who could spend some more time with them. Let's look at the hot zones of Chris Carter.
Chris Carter, a guy the Oakland A's dealt away for a shortstop this year. For the A's, it's worked out well. Chris Carter, since June 15th, has, like most big guys who like to extend, done well with the pitch out over the plate. He's also had some areas, probably off-speed pitches in, that he's handled well. But we've also, in the last month, that period of time, seen Chris Carter drive some balls to right center field.
Yeah, that's been an exciting development for the folks in Astros uniforms to watch Chris Carter improve in that aspect. That's into center field. VR will come home to make it 2-0 and score his first major league run on the RBI single by Carter. 48 runs batted in, tying him for the club lead.
I think what you probably find on this RBI single by Chris Carter is that pitch was right out in the zone where we saw he's been hitting well, drives it back up the middle. But how nice to have that leadoff man in VR get on base and then steal a bag and allow Chris Carter the chance to do what you want to see him do nightly.
That's a very effective point you just made, Ash. You know, with VR, bunting and stealing the base, 2 outs, all Chris Carter needed was a single for that RBI.
It's all it takes when you've got that guy who can get on base and make things happen with his legs.
J-Max with strike one. He doubled under the glove of Josh Donaldson, then stole third and came home on a ground ball to shortstop in the second inning. The Astros, with their legs, have made some things happen, leading to both of the runs they have scored. Stolen bases figuring into both of these runs. Oakland now has allowed 56 stolen bases, throwing out 15. J.D. Martinez on deck. Very nice tone for Dallas Keuchel, as the Astros have given him a couple of runs here in the first 3 innings. And Bo Porter has an energized ball club tonight, although it was a sad ball club after the designation for assignment of Cedeno and Pena. after yesterday's game. Some farewells were said. Saw Carlos Pena in the garage today of Ash, and he's such a classy guy. Ronnie Cedeno as well served this ball club. Offensively, things didn't work out well for either of those players, but they were model citizens in the clubhouse and really helped their younger teammates.
I think they understood coming in that this team was looking to get young for the future, and as long as there was a period of time where the youngsters were going to stay down in the minor leagues, yeah, veterans can come in and try to do a really nice job. And you get to a point in your career, there's only so much you can do, but they gave everything they had, and now it's time for the youngsters to get a chance to play. Brett Wallace has earned a chance to play at first base.
2 balls, 2 strikes, and that really is what those moves are all about. Brett has had a resurgence since returning from AAA Oklahoma City. He should be in for a lot of playing time from now on out to the end of the season.
I think as he has come back and swung the bat well, that kind of spelled the end for Carlos Pena. At shortstop, it just wasn't working for the club, and I think the inevitable has simply happened with the club.
Presumably, Marwin Gonzalez will be playing short every day now at AAA Oklahoma City.
And there's a guy that I think possesses excellent tools at shortstop. I hope he can become the guy that makes the routine play and makes it on a regular basis.
3-2.
He can certainly make the spectacular play.
Yeah.
There's no question about it.
Now 3-2 with 2 outs. Carter will be on his way. The Astros are pretty well stacked up in shortstops right now. They have Nolan Fontana at Lancaster and Correa, of course, at Quad Cities. It's in the air, and the second baseman goes out for it. Green. Reddick is coming in and right. And now it is going to drop in between 3 players. Throw to second. Not in time, and the run scores. Carter comes home to make it 3-0 on a defensive lapse by the Athletics.
Well, this is not who the Oakland A's are. They have been a sound ball club, and that fly ball should have been handled routinely.
It looked like Green was trying to take charge, and then he turned at the last moment.
Well, you get a youngster on the infield, and the outfielders react like they normally would react with a guy they've seen all season long there. But you also have to hand it once again to Justin Maxwell, not winding up at first base. Though he comes out of the box slowly, he does at least turn it on enough to wind up at second base. That's probably not the example I anticipated seeing with Maxwell, but he's got enough speed to be able to make it happen in the end. But I think he wants to make sure that doesn't happen again.
Carter kept running, and he scored from first on the error by Green. It's ruled Green's 3rd error of the year. And now Bob Melvin went out to meet with Tommy Malone briefly at the mound, trying to avoid a further lapse on the part of his pitcher now after the defensive lapse. J.D. Martinez reached on an error but was credited with an RBI on that second inning ground ball. And a turn back towards second by Malone. So the Astros, who have been giving other teams breaks with shoddy defensive play this season, get a break of their own. And Oakland has already made 3 errors in this game. That's highly uncharacteristic, as you mentioned. Strike to Martinez.
Well, you play defense like this on a regular basis, and you will not find yourself in first place.
Jed Lowry made one of those on that throw in the second inning. Derek Norris made one on his throw in the first inning. It ties their high for errors in a game. They made 3 errors April 26th against Baltimore, July 6th at Kansas City. Green hasn't played a lot at second base, but there's hardly a good excuse for letting a ball like that fall.
That said, I haven't often seen a guy get charged with an error when he backs off the ball and it just simply winds up dropping.
Yeah, it's hard to say what happened out there, whether Reddick was calling him off or what. It didn't look like that. Backhanded by Lowry. And Lowry gets Martinez. It's 2-run scoring on 2 hits with an error. And Jonathan VR helps create some good things. 3-0 Houston.
Made Park, and it is time now for our Progressive Fan of the Game. And our Progressive Fans of the Game, two guys who can play some baseball from Moss Bluff, Louisiana, driving 2 hours to get here, Dominic Myers and Dylan Chavis. Dominic, what do you like about going to the Astros games?
I like being here because I get to watch the Astros play, and I'd like to really see them win today.
And you have some good commentary, too, during the game. Andy brought his glove. Now, Dylan, you've got some pretty good Astros swag on. Who's your favorite player?
Jose Altuve.
Why do you like him?
Because he has a lot of speed and he can make nice plays.
They were complimenting Jose Altuve's base-stealing ability. Sounds like we may have some future broadcasters. You guys are Progressive Fans of the Game, and guess what? Jose Veras tried to take this, but I got it back from him, and so now it's yours. Let's send it back upstairs.
Thanks, Layla. 3-0 ball game. Donaldson just took strike one, and now Dallas Keuchel throws a ball to make it 1-1 to Josh, who walked in the first inning.
Tell those guys to go easy on that broadcast thing. Give us a little breathing room.
Well, the youth movement is well underway, Ash.
It is day one. Well, it's not really day one. It's day something in counting. Jared Cosart took care of that.
Backhanded at third. Dominguez skips a throw by Carter, and then it winds up in the seats. So that'll be an extra base for Donaldson, as Dominguez will be charged with his 10th error of the year. Backed up to get the hop, and that made it a long throw, but that's a play he routinely makes, and this time it did not go Matt's way.
Once you back up on this high chopper, you are in a tight spot. You better make a good, strong throw. Matt knows it well, and he's got plenty of arm to make that play. He just simply throws it away.
Throw bouncing up, and that put Carter in jeopardy of getting that glove hand in the way of the base runner, Donaldson, which can be very dangerous for a first sacker. And now Nate Fryman's the batter after the error by Dominguez, his 10th of the year.
You know, when that play's all said and done and watching the replay, I'm actually surprised that Donaldson didn't make it closer at first base. A lot of times that turns into a hit and an error, but he really didn't realistically put enough pressure on there at the bag.
True. So lead off two-base error now gives the Athletics an opening, as the Astros get their first error of the night. The Athletics have made 3. 1-1. The Astros have committed 72 miscues this year in the field, leading to 51 unearned runs. Fryman lately has been in the lineup against lefties, but has not been delivering a lot of power for Oakland against left-handed pitching. Been getting his hits, but mostly singles. A 1-ball, 2-strike count.
Well, you mentioned in his first at bat that his first 2 major league home runs have come against the Astros. His only 2 dingers, by the way, on the season against Houston pitching.
Hyman in the month of July has hit .217. This is his 34th start. 32 have come against southpaws. Usually it's Brandon Moss, a left-handed batter, in there most of the time at first base. While Melvin does some platooning at first and second. There's a shot on the ground. Altuve to his left. On to Carter. 1 out. Donaldson to third. You know, Adam Everett's presence should really add up to something for these Astros infielders. Adam has been here during the previous series with Seattle, and he'll be here through Wednesday, and then he'll head for Lancaster. So he moves around from club to club in the Astros system, but a very wise former shortstop who can pass along many good tips to the infielders.
Well, as valuable as I'm sure he is with the minor leaguers, I think he's got a lot of value right here in Houston, as you imply. I think we probably couldn't see too much of Adam Everett over the course of the season.
Yes. Derek Norris single to center field in the second inning. Now he backs away. Norris, 24 years old. And he got that hit his first time up. He is known for being excellent at game calling. He came up with Washington, was traded to Oakland along with his battery mate tonight, Tommy Malone, and Brad Peacock in a deal. That's ball 1. And Brad Peacock, Jeff Luhnow mentioned him. He has excellent numbers right now for AAA Oklahoma City.
I thought when Brad Peacock was last up with the Astros that he did a nice job.
2 balls, no strikes to Norris.
Had his struggles early on, no doubt, but came up for a brief spell and threw the ball very well.
Derek Norris batting. Bud Norris will be pitching Wednesday at 1:10 here against A.J. Griffin. That'll be the finale of this 6-game homestand, and the Astros go on that long 10-game road trip. Passports ready. Toronto first stop. Hockey jerseys ready. Sweaters ready, we should say. Do you have your sweater all prepared, Ash?
My sweater is still in Mr. Robinson's neighborhood, I think. I need to come up with something.
Wave Robinson is getting you a hockey sweater?
I don't know about that. I haven't been informed.
You know,
the wave has not reached my domicile.
Carl Patterson is all set with his hockey sweater.
Is that right?
Yeah. Steve Sparks, Robert Ford.
Is that a fact?
Yes.
Now
they're way ahead of you, pal. You are officially a laggard.
I feel like such a loser.
That's the 3rd walk for Keuchel. Now Josh Reddick will bat.
Tell me, did Ford and Sparky go out and buy their own, or how'd that work out?
They ordered them. Well, Lowell Matheny.
Oh, I see. They were informed before some other people around here were.
You didn't get the word.
I see.
But talk to Lowell. He will fix you up. He is the unofficial equipment manager of Astros broadcast.
Starting to figure out the pecking order around here.
You see, he's plugging you in right now.
Nicely done, Lowell.
As Steve Sparks slaves behind the microphone. Double play depth, and the Astros would love to get Reddick to bounce into a twin killing for the 2nd time tonight. Broken bat pop-up is not a bad idea either. Castro with a screen for that. Whoa, and then he snaps it over his knee. Josh Reddick turned that into kindling for the winter.
Looking for the perfect way to combine business and baseball, or a unique space to hold your next event? With state-of-the-art meeting spaces, Minute Maid Park can surpass all of your needs. Call 713-259-8800 for more information. Don't forget to ask about softball games and batting practice.
They're watching a 3-0 game, and Grant Green is the batter. Green is 0 for 13 in his major league career. He lined to right field. Justin Maxwell, his first time up. Grant, 25 years old. from Fullerton, California. A first-round pick of the Athletics in 09. He was the 13th player drafted. Went to Southern Cal. He was two-time All Pac-10. Last year, good numbers at AAA Sacramento. Green takes a look at it, and it's ball one. Doing some platooning with Eric Sogard. Green came up from Sacramento July 8th. He made his debut that night against Pittsburgh. This is his 5th start since then, all against left-handers. He's hitting .318 for Sacramento with 11 homers, 49 runs batted in. This one out to left center field, sends Barnes back. Barnes on the run, makes a good retreating play on the backhand side and makes it look routine. About 390 feet away. No runs, no hits, 1 error, 2 men left. 3-0 Houston.
Astros leading the A's 3-0, and naturally, who can help us out of that last inning? Brandon Barnes with another great catch, and it's just another play in the series of great plays that Brandon Barnes makes. Who can forget the catch in Detroit that saved the game? Or what about the walk-off double on Memorial Day against the Colorado Rockies? I got the Gatorade on that one. Particularly memorable for me, Or what about hitting for the cycle? Barnes is a guy who we all know has worked his way up through this organization. 27 years old, happy to be here, and I asked him, at what point do you realize that you're a guy who's on the field at the right time? And he said, man of faith, it's not my plan, it is God's plan. I'm very, very blessed. And he said he had advice for his fellow teammates also coming up through the organization. He said, enjoy this. Make sure you stay focused both on the field and off the field. Maybe we can all be like Brandon Barnes. Let's send it back upstairs.
Thanks, Layla. Well, Brandon has some good karma when you're in the house. There's strike one. You got the Gatorade drenching on Brandon's game winner, and so maybe another good thing will happen with you in the house tonight.
Good and lucky for me, Brownie, I am wearing a darker color, though. Fortunate to report.
Well, there's a single, and let's keep the Layla karma going with Brandon.
Just in case you need to know, lemon lime Gatorade does not stain white clothing, so I had that to learn. But he is a guy who really does appreciate his opportunities. I've talked to him about it before. Perseverance is the word that comes to mind with Brandon Barnes, and he is looked up to in this clubhouse. He's also the guy to remind fellow players about a meeting, and as you can see, sometimes it really does pay off for him on the field as well.
Now he's aboard, and that's hit number 4 for the Astros.
Starting to make the most of those opportunities, too.
Matt Dominguez hit that line drive, and Reddick absolutely laid out to rob him. A tremendous catch in the second inning. That's strike one. Jake Elmore on deck. Rangers lead the Yankees 3-0 there in the bottom of the 8th at Arlington, Texas. Nelson Cruz hit his 23rd home run of the season. Nolan Ryan has been asked about Nelson Cruz, and he said he has no idea what the situation will be regarding Major League Baseball's investigation of the biogenesis clinic regarding Mr. Cruz. And you know, it's unfortunate for some of these players because some of them are probably not going to be suspended, but their names have been dragged out publicly for so long that they will be tainted by that, Ash.
So you think a number of the guys that have had their names mentioned can avoid suspensions in this case?
I'm not sure.
Wow, that's really intriguing. I probably tend to believe a lot of guys are going to get hit.
Pop up, Fryman calling. Fryman catching, 1 out.
Well, off that subject, log on to csnhouston.com and click on In-Game Live to enhance your Astros experience via computer, smartphone, or tablet. Get in-depth stats and join the social buzz. In-Game Live only on csnhouston.com.
Yu Darvish returned to the rotation with 6 1/3 innings of 2-hit shutout ball tonight for the Rangers. And stands to be the winner as they lead the Yankees 3-0 now in the bottom of the 8th inning. Jake Elmore, the batter, he bounced into a force earlier. Yankees lost a tough one last night to Boston in the 11th inning. It took 4 hours and 46 minutes. You know, we've been talking about that, so I hate to harp on pace of play, but 4 hours and 46 minutes. Granted, it was an 11-inning game, so let's call it 4 hours for a 9-inning game. There was one at bat in that game that was 9 minutes long.
Yeah, I don't mind harping on it. I think baseball has to do something about this. It is not good for the game. It's not good for the fans at all.
And the game is for the fans. Elmore takes ball 1. So if the fans who might have watched a game Sunday afternoon or a portion of a game and now are watching another game Sunday night get stretched beyond 4 hours and they have to go to work early Monday morning, how many of those fans are really going to stay with that game? And apparently it was a compelling game.
Yeah, that's the sad thing. And every year we hear the same thing from the media and from fans, the disgust over the length of the games, and yet it goes on and on.
Runner took off and the ball is fouled. It's 1-1.
And we know it doesn't have to go that long. All you have to do to at least speed things up is to force pitchers to throw the ball and let hitters do what they want, but you're going to call strikes if they're taking a stroll around and fixing their batting gloves.
Tommy Malone with an 8-8 record trails 3-0 in this one. It's a 1-1 count. He's allowed 4 hits, 3 singles and a double. Comes in and Elmore takes. It's a 2-ball 1-strike count to Jake. Dodgers 10, Blue Jays 4 in the top of the 7th. At Rogers Center, A.J. Ellis hit his 5th home run. And the Dodgers have won 20 of their last 25.
And Don Mattingly is back to being well received in L.A.
Imagine that.
Rough going early on in the year.
Strike to Elmore. That evens the count at 2-2. It really was rough on him. A number of underproducing players. Zach Greinke got hurt in that fight. Now everything looking very good for the men from Los Angeles with a 50-47 record. And they are breathing down Arizona's neck. Just a half game behind the D-backs, and they're even in the loss column. So that may lead to some deals involving some of those clubs in the race. There's a line shot into center field, and Elmore strokes one. There's the turn at second, and retreat to second base by Barnes.
Inside the Lines is brought to you by Scotch Blue Painter's Tape. Scotch Blue, see what you can do. Here's Jonathan Villar, that first major league at bat. He battled, but in the end, unable to win the battle despite that very good swing in fouling one back. Ran the count deep and eventually struck out, but then in his second major league at bat, drops down a bunt. First major league hit, steals a bag, his first, and because Chris Carter singles to center, scores his first major league run. And high fives all around. Nice to see, and not only good for the youngster, that's good for the club.
Now VR comes up in an RBI situation. Runners at first and second and 1 out for Jonathan. After that strikeout, the bunt single. He rolls around for the 3rd time against Tommy Malone.
I'll just.
Open stance for VR. And he reaches for that one and taps it to third, but foul. Dan Otero is warming up the bullpen for Oakland.
By the way, with this Major League debut of Jonathan VR, Jose Sosa made his Major League debut back on this date in 1975. That in relief for the Houston Astros. Hit a home run, by the way, a few days later in his first Major League at-bat, the first Astros player ever to do that. Chad Qualls also had his big league debut on this date in 2004, so Jonathan VR has some pretty good company there.
Just a special night when a player comes up and gets those first at-bats, first opportunities to impress, and it can drag on. If a guy goes 0 for 20 or something at the start of his Major League career, that gets very difficult. Double play ball here. There's Lowry to second and Green to first. Double play to end the fourth inning with no runs, 2 hits, and a man left after 4. 3-0 Astros. Brought to you by your local Toyota dealer. Once you drive in and tell us let's go places. Here's the question. Name the only Astros shortstop to make more than one All-Star appearance. Well, we think of players like Craig Reynolds, Dickie Fawn. Who else comes to mind?
Yeah, those are two excellent choices. I know Craig made at least one All-Star team here.
I think he made one with Seattle as well.
Well, that's true.
So that could be the trick question.
I need to see that question again. Was that worded such that an All-Star appearance for Seattle would also?
I think it was worded such that we would get it wrong. Yes.
It's always that way for me.
Seth Smith is the batter. He grounded out to short in the third inning. Pirates 6, Nationals 3. They're at the top of the 8th in Washington, and that slumping National Ball Club just having all kinds of problems scoring runs. Smith takes a look at it, and it's a ball to him. Andrew McCutchen has hit a pair of home runs for Pittsburgh, giving him 14. Jason Worth hit number 13, and Adam LaRoche number 14 for Washington. Fouled away. 1-1. So the Nationals were picked by some to make it to the World Series this year, and yet there they are in the doldrums. They're 7 behind Atlanta right now.
Just about to say, you mean those floundering Washington Nationals?
Yeah. All that great pitching and young talent. Swing there by Smith, takes the count to 1-2.
I thought they were the easy pick back in spring training to maybe represent the National League in the World Series.
It really seemed that way to a lot of us. I really like that club in spring training. Strasburg has not been able to get run support. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Several of their hitters underproducing. So it'll be interesting to see if they address that issue. Dan Herron started tonight for them. He gave up 5 runs in 5 innings, and even with all the pitching that they brought into this season, they might beat trying to make a deal for a pitcher. Charlie Morton started tonight for the Pirates. Foul ball. And then there are the Phillies. A real dilemma of a team with a 49-50 record, 6.5 behind Atlanta. Phillies have 34 of their next 50 games at home. This week they're traveling to St. Louis and Detroit, two tough locales. They have a $165 million payroll. They have an older ball club. They have 2 players headed for free agency, Chase Utley and Carlos Ruiz. Swing and a miss, and Smith is down on strikes. Number 1 for Keuchel.
Let's see what Dallas does to polish him off. Good slider down and away, and that'll get many a left-hand hitter. Dallas Keuchel just kind of quietly goes about his business, doesn't draw much fanfare, and give you a lot of good starts.
Coco Crisp doubled to lead off the game. He was stranded at third. He walked in the 3rd inning. He looks at ball 1 high. Yeah, so you wonder about the Phillies and where they sit. They're on the fringes of the race. They have a 33-year-old first baseman, Ryan Howard, $137 million left on his deal. That's a strike, 1-1. They have Utley and Ruiz possibly headed for free agency. Cliff Lee will soon turn 35. Jonathan Papelbon, the closer's 32. Do they stay the course?
I understand the Phillies to not be sellers.
Well, it's kind of what we're reading. Although there was a rumor today that Cincinnati is interested in Michael Young.
But I think one of the biggest reasons the Phillies may wind up not being sellers is because they've got such a tremendous fan base, and to sell off might be selling off some of that great support they get.
True, that perception. Crisp is down on strikes. That's 2 in a row for Keuchel.
Well, strikeout of Coco Crisp, and that would have been unheard of early in the season. And Dallas Keuchel does it by not really changing things a whole lot. You can see with the fastball in the blue there, doesn't matter, first, second, third time through the order, he tends to stay with that pitch pretty well. The other pitches he'll mix in. Dallas Keuchel is Dallas Keuchel, regardless of when you face him over the course of the game.
Now Chris Young. Young takes a look at it. It's ball 1 to Chris. Well, his return home earlier this season went very well for Chris. He usually just explodes in this ballpark, no matter what he's been doing before he got here. He had a 16-game hitting streak at Minute Maid. That's a shot out into right center field, and that'll scoot and go all the way over the warning track to the wall. Maxwell picks it up. Young stretches out for third. No relay. He's in with a 2-out triple, his second triple of the year for Chris Young. And that's pretty typical when Chris Young comes back to Houston.
How do you explain that other than something internal that lights up for a guy hitting 190 on the season, and yet against Houston it is just tear it up time?
Well, whenever he's asked about it, he just talks about how much he enjoys being back home.
Well, is that to say he doesn't enjoy the major leagues in other cities?
Well, maybe not as much.
Mom can really cook, apparently.
There are those who are going to be advocating Chris Young to the Astros someday.
Yeah, if he enjoys playing here that much, I think it's a natural.
That is hit number 3 now for the Athletics. It's 3-0, and Jed Lowry's the batter. Lowry 0 for 2. Well, we're hearing from the Oakland side that the Athletics have had this fascination with Lowry going back to late last season when they tried to acquire him, and that trade then was made during the offseason. In fact, pretty close to spring training of this year. They just kept after it, and they got their man. There's ball 1.
A lot of times you'll find out that general managers will lock into certain players. There's just something about the guy they like. And you may not make the deal right away. It may happen a year or 2 down the line. Chris Young's family enjoying things, and why not? They've got to wonder why he's not a perennial all-star based on what they see here in Houston.
2 balls, no strikes to Lowry. Lowry played well for the Astros last year. He did get hurt and missed a number of games. He had 340 at bats. Fernando Rodriguez were traded for Chris Carter, Brad Peacock, and Max Stassi. And Max Stassi was just named Player of the Week in the Texas League. He has homered in 5 games in a row now for Corpus Christi. 2 balls and a strike.
Slow start on the year for Stassi, but you know, if a guy can find it mid-season, late season, and really put it together, that's really what you're looking for is a guy that eventually finds it and prepares himself to be ready for the big league try.
Lowry fouls it. Stassi has been sharing the catching chores at Corpus Christi with Rene Garcia. Garcia's been hitting over 300, so a nice tandem there for the Hooks, who won the first half title, and they can DH one of those players and catch the other one.
Although I kind of keep going back to George Springer. I love when there's a guy who just tears it up at whatever level he finds himself at. And I realize he's got the strikeout issue, but boy, he does a lot of things tremendously well.
That's right there for strike 3. Lowry takes it to end the top of the 5th inning, and Keuchel strikes out the side. Lowry unhappy, and the A's are down 3-0.
It's 3-0, and it's time for our Geico quote of the day. Quote, I actually wish I could hit him 1 through 9, but they won't let me do that. Bo Porter talking about Jose Altuve hitting leadoff yesterday. We know Altuve likes that leadoff spot. Bo Porter using Jonathan VR to hit leadoff today. Why? Because he likes his speed on the base paths. VR stole 31 bases in Oklahoma City. Give that another addition to Altuve's stealing prowess, and I think we got ourselves a little shake and bake. Let's send it back upstairs to Bill and Alan. Guys, what do you think?
I think you're right, Layla. Altuve puts that one in the air, and the first baseman Fryman goes back. Second baseman Green coming over. Green does catch that one out. Well, Altuve led off again yesterday. He went 2 for 5, drove in a run. He has the highest on-base average when hitting leadoff of any American League player.
I find that to be a very intriguing stat, because the one thing that just in the overall watching Jose Altuve, I would love to see his on-base percentage be much better than it's been.
Well, for the season coming into tonight, he had a 314 on-base average. But as the leadoff man before yesterday, he had a 375 on-base average in those games. Jason Castro struck out twice. There's strike 1, but I think what Bo Porter probably is thinking also is that, hey, if VR can get on, and he had a 342 on base average at AAA, so hard to tell what he would do in the big leagues. But if he can get on and steal, then that could be runs batted in for Altuve, batting second behind him. 1 ball, 1 strike. Tampa Bay leads Boston. It's 3-0 in the top of the 9th inning at Fenway. And if Tampa Bay closes out that game to win, the Rays are 1/2 game behind the Red Sox. 1-2. Matt Moore has been sparkling tonight. 8 innings of 2-hit shutout baseball. And Matt Moore has been one of the best pitchers in the American League. James Loney has driven in 2 of the 3 runs.
Boy, has James Loney found himself in Tampa Bay.
It's been another one of those breakout years for him after some downtime. That's rocked to center field. And that'll hang up for Chris Young, or for Coco Crisp rather, for out number 2. Astros trivia now brought to you by your local Toyota dealer. Will show us the answer to that question about shortstops who made the All-Star team a couple of times. Name the only 2 Astros shortstops. Well,
so another one's done it here in the last 5 minutes then, right?
Yeah, we discovered that Miguel Tejada, now Gene Dias knew this in 08 and 09, but Dennis Menke did it in 69 and 70. So these were for Houston only, those All-Star appearances. Dennis Menke, a very fine player, and later a coach.
Hitting coach here with the Astros during my years, and what a great guy.
There's Carter to left center field, and it's caught on the run by Young. And it's a 1-2-3 5th inning and a 3-0 Astros lead.
Come to Minute Maid Park on August 9th for the big and bright Friday night. That's against the Texas Rangers at 7:10 p.m. Stay after the game for a spectacular fireworks show, courtesy of Marathon Oil Corp. Call 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit Astros.com for your tickets.
Well, you come out that night on August 9th and you're right back in the AL West race as you are tonight, watching first place Oakland Athletics, who are trailing the Astros 3-0. They're watching Kiss Cam up on El Grande, as we call it, the huge screen out in right center field. And this Oakland ball club, which has hit 159 in the previous 8 games, trails this one 3-0. Dallas Keuchel beginning inning number 6 against Josh Donaldson, who has walked and reached on an error.
Couldn't see this coming as the game started with that leadoff double from Coco Crisp, but Keuchel settled right in and shut him down.
He has been very good tonight. He struck out the side in the 5th for his first 3 strikeouts. He's walked 3. Pitched around that 2-base error in the 4th. There's a liner into left. Donaldson jumped all over it. He's aboard with the leadoff single.
Josh Donaldson just blossoming into a heck of a player this year. Should he have made the All-Star team? 16 dingers, a 300 average, 61 ribbies, gets on base. It's an intriguing debate, and I imagine you can talk to a lot of people and get a pretty good discussion going on. Do you like on-base percentage or do you like slugging percentage if you have to choose between the two with one player you'd like to acquire?
If I had to choose, I'd go with slugging.
I would absolutely go with the slugging.
Nate Fryman lines one into the right field corner. Now Donaldson heads for third base. Mike Gallego going to stop him there on a double by Fryman. And now Oakland comes right back, putting runners at second and third with nobody out as Fryman picks up his 7th double of the year.
Well, we both go with slugging as Fryman doubles down the right field side. Yeah, that slugging side is so valuable. And again, you'll get an argument, at least a discussion from a lot of baseball people. Nate Fryman slashing one the other way.
That one had some hair on it.
Yes, it did. And intriguingly, right on by Chris Carter, who had no play on this shot at all. But of course, Carter coming over from the Oakland A's, and Nate Fryman, part of the Astros organization back in the spring.
Derek Norris is next. He has a single and a walk. Well, of course, you'd like to have both. You'd like to have a guy with high on base average, high slugging percentage, and OPS is 850 or something like that.
And that's why I brought it up with Donaldson, because he is that guy this year.
Well, Manny Machado was the guy who got the call as the backup third baseman in the American League. So that left some very good talent out of that game. And Donaldson certainly has been deserving of that this year. There's ball one. Now, if you're forced to choose, would you go with a slugging percentage type player or the on base average type player? Well, you'd like a mix of both in your lineup, but if you have to choose, most people would say the guy who's the bigger slugger.
Look, you got runners at second and third, one out in a ball game, tight game. Do you want the guy at the plate who's going to drive in runs, or the guy who's going to draw the walk and load the bases for the next guy?
Sure.
You know, a lot of times that next guy is not a guy you can count in to drive in runs. And so for me, I like that guy who produces runs, and that's with the slugging.
Paul Clemens is warming up. 71 pitches for Keuchel. He's been pulled from his last 2 starts, despite saying afterwards he felt still very strong. 1-2. He went 5 innings in the heat at Texas and gave up 2 runs and came out of that game. And then at Tampa Bay, went 5 1/3, gave up 3 runs, came out of that game. It was tied 3-3. He's had leads of 4-0 in Texas and 3-0 in Tampa Bay. Didn't get a win in either of those. In the dirt, Castro keeps it close. It's 2-2.
I like coming with that cutter, slider down and in, trying to get the breaking ball for the strikeout. See if you can get that first out that way. Josh Reddick, who waits on deck, another left-handed bat and a guy who has struggled this year.
Here's Clemens. It's the right walking around as Clemens warms up. 13th start of the year for Dallas Keuchel. Braves lead the Mets 2-1 in the bottom of the 9th at New York. Craig Kimbrell's in the game, trying to lock it down. Julio Teheran was the starter for Atlanta against Dylan G. G went 7 innings of 2-hit shutout ball. Bobby Parnell gave up 2 in the top of the 9th for the Braves. Strikeout looking, and Norris will take a seat. It's out number 1.
Well, the Oakland A's a couple of times griping at home plate on 3rd strikes called, but pitches that were right on the money. And in this case, that fastball catching the inside edge right where Castro set it up. That's an ideal pitch.
That could be a huge strikeout. Now it's Reddick, lefty on lefty. Reddick is 0 for 2. He bounced into a double play and he fouled out to the catcher. He had 2 men on last time when he fouled out. And that's ball 1. Grant Green is on deck. Keuchel with a major league record of 7-13, a 4.94 ERA, trying to square his record this season at 5-5. Falls behind him, 2 balls, no strikes. 5 wins, and the Astros have won 33 as a team. 5 wins would be 1 behind Bud Norris, the ball club's leader, with 6. Now Wesley Wright has joined Paul Clemens. Well, if a pitcher's 5-5 on a team that's 34-64, he's done something. And that's what the Astros record would be if they win this game tonight. 3-0 now.
And of course, you look back to last year, that was Lucas Harrell, who went 11-11 on a club that lost over 100 games. And boy, you want to see this guy succeed and turn it back around now.
Matt Moore has won his 14th for the Rays, 3-0 over the Red Sox. First 14-game winner. Now a walk loads the bases. That's the 4th walk.
Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, Oklahoma, and New Mexico viewers, listen up. Comcast Sportsnet covers the entire 5-state region, and we want your story ideas. Email us your ideas at regionalroundup@comcastsportsnet.com.
Bases loaded and 1 out. And it's Grant Green. Doug Brocail meeting with Keuchel, with Castro. VR is there. Green is 0 for 2 tonight. A liner to right. Fly ball to center.
What is it the Oakland A's do offensively? We know they don't hit for a real high batting average. They're not among the leaders in runs scored, but they're not a club that goes after the first pitch a whole lot. They don't chase a whole lot, and pitches per plate appearance is something they certainly value. One way to go at things offensively, and that's what the Oakland A's appear to try to do offensively with their guys.
Grant Green takes it. There's strike 1 to Green. Seth Smith is on deck. 0 for 14 as a major leaguer for Grant Green. He chases that one. It's 0-2. Talk about guys coming to the big leagues and going hitless. Green 0 for 14 now in this bases loaded 1 out situation. He might be pressing to make something happen. With his club trailing 3-0, especially after that pop-up drop behind him in right center field. Castro keeps it close. It's 1-2. A's have won 14 of the 15 games played between these two clubs since they first met in 2002. And Oakland has outscored Houston 102-54 in those 15 games. It's an 11-game winning streak for Oakland versus Houston, the longest current team versus team winning streak in the majors. Pokes it foul. Still 1-2. The Athletics have won 6 of their last 7 series. Just been marching right along. They had a 9-game winning streak early in the season for Bob Melvin. Moved into first place early in the AL West.
And Brownie would just show the graphic and talked about how the Oakland A's go about things offensively. Now that's not to have the fans sit back and say, well, that must be the way to do it. Oakland is just right in the middle of the pack in scoring runs per game this year.
Barnes back into left center field. Runner tagging at third. And he'll come home as the throw goes into second base. It's 3-1 on a sac fly by Green. He gets his first major league RBI. Donaldson scoring. Fryman went back to second base. Athletics are on the board, trailing by 2.
But if I were looking at the Oakland A's as a team that I wanted to try to copy what they do with something, it would have to do with their pitching. And I imagine their ballpark in Oakland with the huge foul territories and a yard where the ball doesn't carry at nighttime has a lot to do with it. But year after year, the Oakland A's somehow put together an outstanding pitching staff.
They're solid. Seth Smith has grounded out and struck out. That's strike one to Smith. Mike Gallegos, the third base coach. He's looking at big 6'7" Nate Fryman at second base. With 2 outs, usually it's an automatic send on a base hit to the outfield. Fryman does not run well. It's 0-2. Tigers 4, White Sox 1. They're in the top of the 8th at U.S. Cellular in Chicago. Max Scherzer has a bead on another win against Chris Sale. Good matchup. Scherzer shooting for his 14th win tonight as well. There you go. The appeal went to third. Check swing call by Tim McClellan. 1-2 on Smith.
Looks like Tim McClellan's a little quicker on that call than he is on the strike call when he's the home plate umpire. That's a close pitch as that slider sweeps across, trying to nip a part of that outside corner.
That was a good 0-2 pitch. And he punches that one foul. Seth Smith, 30 years old, from Jackson, Mississippi, and the University of Mississippi was Eli Manning's backup quarterback for 3 years. Never took a snap.
I guess no big surprise there.
Not really.
Hey, you'd think at some point late in the season, come on,
Coach, get him in a route, maybe.
He's going to be a major league star.
Yeah. Can he come in for a series? Swing and a miss. And that's strikeout number 5 for Keuchel. It's 1 run, 2 hits, and 2 men left in the middle of the 6th inning. 3-1 Astros. Net is brought to you by Jack in the Box. Go big at a Jack in the Box near you with Jack's Big Stack Burger. And by your local Toyota dealer. Toyota, let's go places. The Astros are going places so far. They lead it 3-1. The Athletics just scored in the top of the 6th inning. Hits are even at 5, but the 3 Oakland errors are telling at this point. Justin Maxwell doubled in the 2nd inning. That was not an error, but it was a ball right under the glove of Josh Donaldson, who was moving to his right. And then J-Mac stole 3rd and came home on a ground ball to short, which was ruled an error. He then reached on an error. He bounces this one foul, strike 1. So the Oakland fielding has not been in concert. And Tommy Malone, who began the night with a 4.24 ERA, has not had either fielding support or run support in this game. Good looking pitcher, though. It really changes speeds well. 0-2. You know, you would say this about a Tommy Malone type guy, Ash. He doesn't beat himself. But with the team he's had behind him tonight, he has done his part. And we've seen a few games like that with the Astros this year as well.
Yeah, he's one of those pitchers that gets a strikeout with a fastball up at 86 miles an hour. It's not impressive stuff. But I imagine he impresses a lot of folks with the Oakland A's organization because he takes that mediocre stuff and goes out and battles with it, does battle, and then comes out victorious pretty well.
In his 8 losses this year, he has a total run support of 8. J.D. Martinez reached on the error, for which he was credited with an RBI. He's 0 for 2. 0-1 to J.D. Padres 5, Brewers 3 in Milwaukee. They're in the bottom of the 7th inning. Fly ball goes to right field. Reddick comes in. 2 outs. Tom Gorzolani started tonight for Milwaukee, which will have to do without Ryan Braun for the rest of the season. Andrew Cashner, the starter for the Padres.
Ryan Braun was having troubles with his thumb or his wrist, something in his hand.
Yeah.
And I think when it's all said and done, really gets off rather easy with this. I think he was going to miss some time or be ineffective at the very best with the injury he was dealing with.
It sounds as if it could have been one of those plea bargain deals on this suspension.
Absolutely does.
Barnes is 1 for 2, and there could be another one in the works for Alex Rodriguez. There have been some strange reports on him. Strike 1. He was at the end of his minor league injury rehab assignment. He said he was ready to rejoin the Yankees. The Yankees said, "Oh no, he's hurt. He's got a quad strain."
Yeah, there's been all the conspiracy theorist stuff going on out there. Are the Yankees trying to save some money? And I don't know. I have no idea. But it sure does look suspicious the way things have gone down.
All right, let's just say that there's something going on here. They're buying some time until they hand down his suspension.
Yeah.
That might be what's happening.
Well, I mean, you could probably argue why bother if you can get a week or 2 weeks out of him before he gets the suspension. Why not get it?
Sure. Strikeout number 5. That makes it 7 straight. Retired by Malone. 3-1 Astros through 6.
1 here on Comcast Sportsnet. And treat your employees, host clients, or bring them out to your church or youth sports team. Call 1-877-9-ASTROS. Visit astros.com to enjoy special pricing and great benefits by reserving your group or suite. Not a bad way to go, guys, today.
Yeah.
Let's send it back upstairs.
Thanks, Layla. Hey, Layla, were you a part of the media searching for Jared Cosart at the ballpark today?
You know, I was part of the media searching for Jared Cosart, and I tried to find him, but he was unavailable.
He's not here.
You know what the good news is, though, is he did tweet to us, at least his viewing public, which was pretty cool. He had nice things to say, actually, about Jonathan VR. He said, I told everyone VR makes things happen and is an electric player. Been fun to watch already at Astros. So you know he's at least cheering on his team, even though we can't talk to him just yet.
Tomorrow night.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah. Travis Blackley takes over. He's 1-0 with a 4.80 ERA. An excellent start for Dallas Keuchel. 6 innings, 5 hits, 1 run, 4 walks, 5 strikeouts. Blackley, a former Oakland A reliever, facing Coco Crisp. Here's ball 1. In fact, he's on the cover of the Oakland Athletics media guide, Travis Blackley, in that celebration as they clinched a playoff spot on the final day. Crisp has been on twice with a double and a walk. Very good work by Keuchel, especially limiting the Oakland A's damage in the 6th inning to 1 run, stranding 2 men on. It's in for a strike for Blackley. It's 1-1 for Travis. In fact, Travis, when he had been designated for assignment this spring by the Oakland A's, was waiting to find out what his next destination would be, and he attended a game in Oakland and sat in the right field stands.
I hope he had a ticket for that seat.
That's fun. A shot to left field. That's got some carry to it. It's near the left field foul pole, but it's foul. 1-2. Well, a few years ago, Russ Springer was spotted out in the right field seats here at Minute Maid Park, and I think it was Patty Smith who went out and interviewed him during the game, and he wound up signing.
Yeah, that'd be fun to get an interview from a guy. So what are you doing? You come here often, big boy?
The foul was restless. Of course, the Houston fans don't get Chick-fil-A sandwiches if a visiting player homers off that foul. But we hadn't used that sound effect in at least 7 days. Struck him out. That's strikeout number 6 for Astros pitchers.
It doesn't require sound reasoning around here. A little off-speed delivery to get the strikeout. Coco Crisp is mortal against the Astros.
5 straight scoreless appearances for Travis Blackley. And Chris Young is the batter now. Young tripled in the 5th inning. He's 1 for 3. The attendance tonight is 1,600. 16,381.
I was going to say, it looks like a little more than that.
16,381. Well, the other night I gave the rundown as the attendance. Remember that?
Yes. How could I forget?
Ball 1 to Young. Boots wasn't here for that.
It turned into the hundreds of thousands that were here for that game.
Yeah. I wrote down 1645 something. But that wasn't. I don't have it here anymore, but that wasn't the attendance. The attendance was 25,733.
I liked 160,000 better.
Infield shifted around for Young. Young takes a look at it. It's a strike.
Ohio State football, my tail.
Talented player, Chris Young. He's moved around and hoping that he can really turn it up a notch offensively in the remaining couple of months for this Oakland club after hitting .231 for Arizona last season with 41 runs batted in and 325 at bats. He's had some big years. Had a 91 RBI year for Arizona in 2010. It's 2 balls and a strike. Young has plenty of power, good defensive player. Has a career .239 batting average coming into this season with a .318 on base average. But those numbers sound foreign to Astros fans who have watched him work his magic here at Minute Maid Park.
Yeah, you scratch your head and say that can't be right. Here's the waiting game between pitcher and hitter, and I'm not going to give in. You're going to be the one that waits on me.
And McTaggart wrote a tags lines on Jared Cosart. Talked with him today about the Minute Maid Park debut for him tomorrow night. Jared grew up an Astros fan. Came out for the exciting 05 season, World Series game. There's a shot to left field headed for the seats. And that gets out of here for a Young home run. And it's 3-2 as Young hits his 9th of the year. A triple and a homer tonight for Young. That's RBI number 30. There's the Young section.
Yeah, you got to ask yourself, how is this guy a 190 hitter against the league?
Well, he came into this game hitting .339 for his career against Houston. Pitches like that, it makes the guy hit well.
He just got the hit me fastball. Told you he was going to hit a homer.
It's his 12th career bomb against the Astros. 46 career runs batted in for Chris against Houston. Now a 1-run game. And Jed Lowry's the batter. Lowry's 0 for 3. Strike to Lowry. Greenville Astros have won 10 in a row. One ball, one strike. Class A team in the Astros system with a 2.49 ERA.
For the season.
Yeah, I think that's for the season. Isn't that crazy?
Wow. Well, that's emulating what the Oakland A's have done with their pitching.
One ball, 2 strikes. Our producer Carl Patterson has been grinding on statistics from the Astros Class A teams, and they are high on base average hitters on those clubs.
Sometimes what I wonder about the guys who are your classic high on base guys, the general guy, not the exceptional guy, but are they taking enough pitches so that eventually they walk, but in the process they strike out a lot and maybe don't drive in as many runs as they might otherwise be capable of?
True. Let's look at some ratios of strikeouts to walks. Oklahoma City Redhawks ranked 4th in the league. And you see Lancaster first, Quad Cities first, Greenville first, Tri-Cities second.
Yeah, those are hard stats for me to digest. And yeah, I've been around the scenario where some guys will try to take a lot of pitches and see how high they can push that on base percentage. But what I've also seen in those scenarios, and I won't use names, but there was a very big name player that I was around a handful of years ago, and run driving in opportunities. And this guy was one of those guys that should drive in a ton of runs, great power, but he was all about the on-base percentage. And you could have that second and third bases loaded type scenario, and he was about passing the baton and working that count and moving it on to the next guy. And yet he was a guy that was really being counted on to drive in runs.
Interesting. Ball 3 to Lowry. There are 2 schools of thought on that. One is that if you don't make an out, you're certainly helping the team.
Yeah. And it sounds great, but how about the guy that drives in 2 or 3 with a given swing and does it on a pretty steady basis? See Miguel Cabrera. See, and you can name some guys, but Boy, that's the guy that for me is really valuable. And now because he's so lethal with the bat, pitchers will pitch around him and he'll draw his appropriate amount of walks.
Bouncer, and Altuve moves to his left. On over to Carter to get Lowry. 2 outs. It's a difficult issue, isn't it? But managers usually would say they would identify probably a couple of guys in their lineup and say, yes, those are my RBI men, maybe more than 2. But if there's a marginal pitch and he could take it for ball 4 or swing at it with men in scoring position, I want him swinging the bat.
Look, we saw Robbie Grossman earlier this year, and he's a guy that, in my viewpoint, tried to work a lot of walks. But he got caught looking strike 3 far too many times, trying to take a close pitch. And, you can just carry it too far, in my estimation.
Pitching change. Hector Ambrose heads in from the bullpen. And Travis Blackley takes his leave. 2 outs in the 7th inning. 3-2 Astros. Back in a moment.
Seventh inning. August 5th through the 7th, the Astros take on Big Papi. That's David Ortiz, Dustin Pedroia, and the Boston Red Sox in their only trip to Minute Maid Park this season. Call 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit Astros.com to get your tickets and do it right now.
Very important series for the Red Sox coming in. They're trying to hang on to their lead in the AL East. It's down to a half game over the Rays after the Rays shut them out tonight on the Mad Moore Gem, 3-0. Just a half game separating the two. They're even in the loss column. The Orioles trail by 3, the Yankees by 7, and the Red Sox will be here soon. For all that firepower. Hector Ambrose comes in for the Astros. The lead is 3-2 for the Astros. Ambrose is 2-4. His ERA is 5.50.
You see the opponent's batting average against almost 330 on the year. Lefties, righties, not a whole lot of difference. 7 dingers allowed in 34 innings or so.
He came in the Seattle series on Friday night. It was his first game back after being recalled from AAA Oklahoma City and gave up a homer to Justin Smoke on his first pitch in that game. A shot on the ground to Ned Dominguez. He takes care of the 3rd out to end the top of the 7th inning with the score 3-2 Astros.
In the 7th inning, Astros leading the A's 3-2, and it's time for the AT&T tweet of the game, courtesy of @CC Hooks, the Corpus Christi Hooks. Congratulations to catcher Max Stassi for being named Texas League Player of the Week. Stassi has home runs in 5 straight games. Way to hit @Max Stassi 10. #Astros. And we did talk about 6 degrees of Roy Oswalt earlier. What about 6 degrees of the Jed Lowry trade? Chris Carter with some nice 2-out hitting tonight. 18 home runs leading the Astros. Brad Peacock doing well in Oklahoma City, 6-2 record over his last 12 games. And then, like we said, Max Stassi hitting .342 in his last 10, and now the reigning Texas League Player of the Week. Let's send it back upstairs to Bill and Allen.
Thanks, Layla. Peacock, and he was mentioned a few innings ago by Jeff Luhnow, the Astros general manager, for his fine work at Oklahoma City. If the Astros need a starting pitcher, he would seem to be in line with that 6-2 record, that 2.59 ERA. And as Allen mentioned, last time he was with the Astros, he threw the ball well.
He's got a good arm, Ed. Yeah, you're right. Listening to Jeff Luhnow, it sounds like he may be the next pitcher on that trek here into Houston.
Tommy Milone has left the game after 93 pitches. Here's Ryan Cook with a 2-2 record and a 2.38 ERA.
Opposition hitters not having a good time against him. It is not a party, and for the right-hand hitters, 169 the batting average against.
And Dominguez has hit that line drive to right field. He's popped to first. That's strike one for Ryan Cook. Milone retired the last 7 men he faced, and in 6 innings he allowed 5 hits, 3 runs, 2 earned, walking 1, fanning 5. Miguel Cabrera had to leave with a hip flexor problem for the Tigers tonight. Jason Grilli left the Pirate game with an arm injury apparently, and it's 0-2. So the superstars of 2013, 2 of the big names, leaving ball games with injuries tonight. Well, that Pirate bullpen has been a huge part of what that team's done. Strikeout for Cook. That's number 6 for Oakland pitching tonight.
This stuff is filthy, and this is the kind of arm you look for to have in the back end of your bullpen for a successful ball club. Just puts right-hand hitters away. See that slider. Starts it just in the edge of the strike zone. You commit the bat, you're done.
Cook was in the rotation at Southern Cal along with Tommy Milone and Ian Kennedy. By rotation, Jake Elmore takes a look at strike one. Elmore singled in the 4th inning. He's 1 for 2. Oakland has out hit Houston 6-5. Oakland with 3 errors, and Houston has 1. Elmore takes a look at it, and that makes it a 1-1 count.
So I wonder what it is in the minor leagues that leaves somebody in a position of decision making to say, okay, this kind of arm, no, you're not going to be one of our starters. You're going to work in the bullpen.
Yeah. Good point. Fly ball, and center fielder Crisp goes over to right center. What we usually hear about that is that a pitcher is maybe short of 3 quality pitches. He might have 2. And the general thinking is he needs 3 to be a successful major league starter. But that's not always the case, as we know, Ash.
Yeah, I think of Steve Carlton. I can think of a lot of guys. He's a 2-pitch pitcher. There are some guys, Bartolo Colon, who live on pretty close to 1 pitch. It depends on that individual.
Certainly does. Jonathan VR has a bunt single in his major league debut. He's 1 for 3, has stolen a base, has scored a run, has started a double play tonight.
Yeah, but you're right. I know those are the decision-making elements. But I've always been intrigued because I was around those guys in the minor leagues that got kind of picked out of the line. You're a starter, you're relief, kind of so on.
And it's a good point because in some organizations, we'll say the Atlanta Braves down through the years, they've developed so many good starting pitchers. They've had to choose from somebody who might have been a good major league starter for another organization. Hey, we're overstocked. You're going to the bullpen.
And I think a lot of times that's the great reason for a guy going one way or the other, because you're loaded in one area on the big league club. And this will be your fast track to the big leagues. I think any player will buy into that.
1-2 to Jonathan VR.
There used to be a lot of talk when I was around minor league clubs and even big league clubs, that this guy has got the bullpen mentality. And I never was exactly sure what that was. A lot of times it was just kind of your basic whack job, and you figured, well, okay, he doesn't belong in the rotation. He's a bullpen guy.
VR strikes out, and that ends the 7th inning. That's 10 straight retired by Oakland pitching. The Astros lead at 3-2.
As we move to the 8th inning, this moment in history is brought to you by MD Anderson, making cancer history. July 22nd of 1926. Yeah, you know the name Babe Ruth is going to come up back then. He caught a baseball at Mitchell Field in New York. The ball had been dropped from an airplane flying at 250 feet. Okay. I'd like to hear that he was eating a chili dog at the time that he made that play.
Well, he might have been. He was that good, Ash.
Now, does that baseball move along at the speed of the plane?
Good question. Hector Ambrose back out for the 8th inning now, and it's Nate Fryman to lead it off. Fryman is 1 for 3. He lined to third in the 1st inning, whistled another line drive into the right field corner for a double in the 6th. Norris is on deck. Reddick due up third. Wesley Wright is throwing in the bullpen for the Astros if they want to match up lefty on lefty. Sean Doolittle, a lefty, warming up for the Athletics along with right-hander Jesse Chavez. Jose Cisnero is alongside Wesley Wright in the Astros bullpen. Pitch from Hector Ambrose going for ball 2, makes it 2 balls, no strikes. Earlier this season, Hector was the 8th inning setup man for the Astros, so he gets a chance to move back into that role, at least for a portion of this frame tonight. He came up for Brett Oberholzer as the second half of the season got underway, at least after the All-Star break, although we're well past the halfway mark. Flared to right field, and this is dropping quickly and in front of Justin Maxwell for a pop fly single for Nate Fryman. Fryman's 2 for 4. See if we get a pinch runner for him. It looks as if there will be, and he's jogging out to first base right now. It's like Brandon Moss.
Had Jason Castro trailed down the line, gone to first base here, there might have been a chance to throw back behind the runner and pick up that gift of a first out. Hard to anticipate that as a catcher, but you can see Carter, the first baseman, going out. That left nobody at the bag, and it left a chance for Fryman to make a turn there at the bag, which he did.
Brandon Moss is the pinch runner, and Derek Norris the batter. Norris has a hit and a walk tonight. Struck out looking with runners at second and third for the first out in the 6th inning. Dallas Keuchel pitching to him. That one goes foul for strike 1. The Marlins had a scoreless inning streak of 37 coming into their game in Colorado tonight. They broke that quickly with 2 in the first, and they lead it 3-1 in the 8th inning now.
Does that make them a hot club now?
Makes them really, really torrid.
Isn't that something, going 30 some odd innings without scoring a run?
Longest streak in 28 years. It's hard to believe, isn't it?
Sounds like it might take you back to some Astros years when I might have been a part of that.
1 ball, 1 strike. Washington fired its hitting coach, Rick Eckstein, today. Rick Shue took over for him. Wesley Wright and Jose Cisnero at work there.
Yeah, be careful about high expectations on a club. A lot of smiles coming out of the spring, I'm sure. Talking about the Washington Nets.
That's in for a strike for Hector, and it's 1-2 as Ambrose works to Norris. With the 3 errors Oakland has made tonight, the Athletics now have made 14 errors with Tommy Malone on the mound this year, and that's tops in the American League for any tough luck pitcher.
You know, we were talking about hitting styles, and Derek Norris has the reputation already briefly in the major leagues of being a guy who likes to see a lot of pitches, good at bats, people will tell you, because he saw X number of pitches in a given at bat. Well, he's struggling. He's hitting 207, and he just took on a 1-1 count what appeared to be a sure thing strike. Looked like he was taken all the way, and I'm not sure what value that has.
That's bounced, and Castro scrambles for it to prevent the advance by the pinch runner Moss.
On it like a cat, and a rather fast cat right there. Jason Castro was moving. Watch him come out to his left. Good block, number 1, but he is getting to that baseball.
That's a big play to prevent that runner from advancing into scoring position in a 1-run game. You know, the other thing that would have been a possibility is John Jatso pinch hitting here for Norris. But then the Astros might have countered by bringing in Wesley Wright, so all that's going through Bob Melvin's mind. But that's a move Bob Melvin has made with Norris struggling at the plate this year, pinch hitting Jatso. Jatso, a much better offensive player and a left-handed batter. That's in tight, and it's 3-0. 3-2.
Yeah, taking a 1-2 call, not a bad idea if you can't finish things off as a pitcher and come back in the strike zone. But again, I just think that there are holes in the philosophy of trying to take a lot of pitches.
Now 3-2 with nobody out. Pittsburgh won 6-5 at Washington. The Nationals got 2 in the bottom of the 9th inning, and the Pirate closer Jason Grilli left with an injury. He went 2/3 of an inning, gave up 2 runs. Vin Mazzaro was called in to get the final out. He got his first save as Charlie Morton went to 2-2. He beat Dan Herron. Herron 4-11.
This at bat strikes me as one where a guy takes pride in having long at bats.
Well, he's got a ways to go to get to Brett Gardner's 9-minute at bat last night for the Yankees.
Did Gardner have to tie his shoe in the middle of that at bat?
I'm not sure.
Or did he just do it by fouling pitches off?
I think he did a lot of that.
I don't know. I think it's become a lauded event to have a very long at bat. And I'm not sure why that is. Then the pitcher can't find the sign, and the hitter steps out.
Liner to Dominguez. He fires to first, safe there on the broken bat line drive. Well, Norris with a tough luck play. His bat got shattered. His line drive was caught, and it's out number 1.
Only part of the bat left in the hand is the part you'll start that barbecue with coming up.
Cole Porter will make a change here. Lefty hitting Josh Reddick due up next. Hector Ambry's coming out after 2/3 of an inning. It's 3-2 Houston. Wesley Wright will be pitching when we return right after this. Here in the 8th inning, an intriguing battle of young pitchers comes tomorrow night. It's game 2 of this 3-game series with the Astros and the A's. Astros pregame live kicks things off at 6:30 p.m. only on Comcast Sportsnet.
And now let's take a look at tomorrow's pitching matchup, brought to you by Chevron. Care for your car. Jared Parker goes for the Oakland A's in game 2. It'll be an all-Jared matchup on the hill. Jared Cosart goes for the Astros in his 2nd game now in the big leagues after that brilliant gem in the debut down in Tampa Bay. 2-hitter over 8 innings, yet to be scored on the big leagues. Someday that'll get taken care of, but no reason that has to be done tomorrow.
Josh Reddick is 0 for 2 with a walk. Wesley Wright in the game. And gets a foul ball. There's strike 1. Wesley Wright pitched twice in the Seattle series. Scoreless baseball both times. He's 0-3 with a 4.08 ERA. Left-handed hitters .284 against Wesley. There's another play by Castro to block that pitch in the dirt and make it 1-1, keeping the runner at first base. Moss
done a real nice job with that blocking effort here this evening. That glove's still coming up a little bit, but very effective in what he's done. That chest protector has done exactly what it's designed to do.
The Astros have Altuve, Castro, and Carter due up in the last of the 8th. It's 2-1. In that matchup of Jared's tomorrow night, he's supposed to be eating at Subway before the game. Joining Jared at Subway.
3 Jareds coming together in one location. I'm not sure that's legal. Jared of Subway has parlayed quite a career out of eating sandwiches.
Not bad work if he can get it, pal.
Yeah.
Three balls and a strike. Well, you tried to parlay a career out of eating a chili dog yesterday.
I was just following your lead, and your lead was a good one, too. I have to tell you.
It's a very unhealthy path we're setting.
Yeah.
Dodgers bombed the Blue Jays 14-5. Ryu the winner. He's 8-3. Josh Johnson lost it. He's 1-6. Schumacher and Ellis went deep for LA. Foul ball makes it 3 balls, 2 strikes to Josh Reddick.
When's the last time you ordered the steamed veggie plate at the ballpark?
Probably never. You doesn't mean they have one at a ballpark.
I've searched and searched, Brownie. Haven't come up with it yet.
Oh. You can get a nice salad here. Rangers 3, Yankees nothing. That final giving you Darvish's 9th win, beating Ivan Nova. So Nathan got his 31st save. High drive to right field. Maxwell all the way back, and Oakland gets a 2-run homer from Josh Reddick. Oakland takes a 4-3 lead as Reddick hits number 5 of the year. 34 runs batted in for Josh Reddick. And a big blow giving the Oakland Athletics their first lead of the night.
That is a fired up Josh Reddick. He's had a miserable season. I know he's angry at himself and going to take it out on the hands of his teammates right here. This lefty-righty thing not working out all that well.
Well, Reddick gives Oakland the 1-run lead now, and with 1 out in the inning, they look for more with Grant Green batting. Green is 0 for 2 with a sac fly. 4 runs on 8 hits now for Oakland. Dominguez goes to first, 2 outs.
Yeah, get a pitch in or third. Wheelhouse time. Got just enough to get it out to what really is a rather short porch in straightaway right field. He's got plenty of power when he connects.
Oakland getting its 2nd home run of the night. Young connecting in the 7th inning, so the late home run offense of the Athletics has lifted them into this lead, and they have a good closer in Grant Balfour. Seth Smith takes strike 1. Usually it's lefty Sean Doolittle as the 8th inning man. Smith is 0 for 3, a ground ball and 2 strikeouts for Seth. Formerly with the Colorado Rockies. 1 ball and 1 strike. Well, the Oakland Ball Club has certainly drawn rave reviews for bearing down. And that's what we've seen from this team tonight. Bouncer to first. Carter will take it to the bag. 2 runs scoring on 2 hits, and Oakland takes a 4-3 lead to the last of the 8th.
Nice shot of Bobby Dynamite, the conductor of the famous Astros train. Swing for the fences with the new Home Run Derby mobile game from MLB.com, available on iPhone and iPad. Download free today. Guys, I know Julia Morales got to go up there to the train. It seems like one of the best views in the house. You two ever been up there?
Never. How about you, Layla?
I get a little afraid of heights sometimes, being 5'3".
Well, watch this guy now. See, he's going to try to get everybody revved up as Altuve, Castro, and Carter are coming up in the bottom of the 8th inning.
Yeah, if I'm standing in that position, I'm strapped in.
It seems like it's okay, though. Julia's been up there. I know Bud Norris has been up there before. Seems like a cool place to watch.
What is that article of clothing in the train?
What do we think that is? Is that a shirt?
We're not sure.
Some good overalls, though.
But if you're going to have to go to those heights to get to work, better bring a backup garment of some kind. And he's done that. Jose Altuve will bat against the lefty setup man as Brandon Moss stays in the game at first base after pinch running for Nate Fryman. Lefty setup man being Sean Doolittle, and he's a good one. Doolittle comes in with the 1-run lead. He's 3-3 with a 3.43 ERA. Altuve 0 for 2 with a walk and a steal, and there's ball 1. Castro on deck, and then Carter. Doolittle misses there, and it's a 2-ball, no strike count. Winning pitcher now could be Ryan Cook, who had a 1-2-3 7th with 2 strikeouts. Hector Ambrose in 2/3 of an inning, allowed 1 hit, 1 run. Same line as Travis Blackley, who had a strikeout. 3-0 to Altuve. First batters facing Sean Doolittle when he enters the game are 7 for 42. 167 batting average. They have a 186 on base average against him. That's called a strike, and it's 3-1. Doolittle has a win against the Astros. That was in Oakland, April 16th, and he has a blown save in that same game. Now it's a full count to Altuve. Doolittle came up and made his major league debut with the A's last year after just 17 professional appearances as a pitcher. Fouled away. He was converted to pitching in 2011. He had missed 3 years with knee problems, had surgery for a torn patella tendon. He was a top first base prospect, compensation pick after the 07 first round, 41st player drafted in the draft that year.
Once he became a pitcher, I wonder what led him to that glove under the chin style he employs.
Yeah, good question. Well, last year he walked 11 in 47 innings, while fanning 60 for the A's. Fastball in the mid-90s. Slider has been a developing pitch for him. He's from Rapid City, South Dakota, University of Virginia. And there's a leadoff walk, so that's a breakthrough. Not too many first batters faced by Doolittle have reached in any fashion. And Altuve, who has stolen the base, is aboard. Second walk of the night for Oakland pitching. Jason Castro's the batter. Meeting at the mound. Norris out to talk it over. Castro has struck out twice and fly to center tonight. When Doolittle played at the University of Virginia as first baseman, he was their career RBI leader. And also the career wins leader. Steve Castro might be asked to bunt here, facing a tough left-hander with nobody out and Carter on deck.
Tough assignment when you've been really that 3-hitter for the club so much of the season. You're expected to drive the baseball. You don't really work on the bunting game. It just doesn't come that easily to a lot of guys.
He is not, and it's strike 1.
You turn around and try to bunt a major league fastball or slider, whatever the case may be, and find out some guys may make it look easy, but it's not easy when you try it yourself.
Castro's hitting .220 against all southpaws this year with 3 homers and 59 at bats. The runner takes off, and Altuve on the throw is in at second base. A one-hop throw right on the bag by a scrambling Derek Norris. And Altuve advances on the wild pitch.
It's a big 90 feet. Now you can get back even in this game with one single and you have nobody out.
Quick recovery by Norris.
Really nice job on the grab and tag here at the bag.
Lowry
snapping it down right as the catch is made.
Yes. Now it's 1-1. It could be an awfully big 90 feet. Castro puts it in the air, foul. Donaldson over, out of play. 1-2. Well, it certainly changes the complexion of this inning in a major way with that wild pitch. Castro, though, has only grounded into 3 double plays all year. That's surprising, Ash.
Drives that shot to left field, generally in the air. Yeah, he's a guy that if he put it on the ground a lot, you would think would ground into a lot of double plays. But yeah, I'm not convinced he's given the opposition many chances for that swing.
96 miles per hour. Yeah, he took a nice cut there. Left-handed hitters are hitting .220 against Doolittle. 2 homers and 59 at bats. This Oakland bullpen has a 3.08 ERA. Breaking ball off the plate makes it 2-2.
That's impressive to watch a left-hand hitter lay off that slider without that front side flinching, trying to see the hips start to spin early, maybe that lead shoulder. That's seeing the baseball.
Doolittle, coming into this game, has been averaging 1.5 walks per 9 innings. That's third best in the American League. That pitch just off the plate. Castro did get a good look at it. Now he'll get a 2-2 pitch.
I don't know if you noticed, Jason slapped the right just below the hip area. And that's always the reminder. Don't let that open early.
Struck him out, 1 out. Chris Carter comes up.
It's just blowing heat in a good location down and away. You try to stay with it all the while being aware that there's a slider you have to deal with.
Carter singled in a run in the 3rd inning after Jonathan Villar had bunted and stole second base. He's 1 for 3. Takes a look at ball 1. Chris was Oakland's minor league player of the year in 08 and again in 09. Last year he hit 16 homers for the Athletics in 218 at bats. It's in for a strike, leaving the count at 1-1.
It looked like Chris Carter was in that taking all the way mode. I would love to see him in a really aggressive mode when he gets a fastball through the strike zone.
Runner breaks for 3rd, and here's a throw to Donaldson, and he tags out Altuve. A key play in this game. With the Athletics up by 1, they get Altuve trying to steal 3rd.
In the rule book, you are not supposed to be able to deceive the base runner, but that's what I see this play, the spin move towards second base, as being. There's nobody really, in most cases, to throw to at the bag. And if you catch that runner on the move, he's just dead to rights.
Caught stealing from 1 to 5 for out number 2. Big out for the Athletics. The shift is on for Carter. 2 balls and a strike. Astros had stolen 3 bases in this game in the first 3 innings. Now the big caught stealing really helping Doolittle. Foul back, and it's a 2-ball, 2-strike count.
Yeah, just thinking about that kind of a move for a pitcher. If Ricky Henderson or Lou Brock, one of the great base stealers of all time, what would he do to defend that? He takes off on first move, and there's no way you're going to steal third by waiting until you see if the guy's going home or not.
Two balls, 2 strikes remaining to count on Carter. Justin Maxwell's on deck. It's foul back. Grant Balfour, the closer, is 25 for 25 in save opportunities. He's the only major league closer without a blown save. Carter strikes out. That ends the 8th inning. It's Oakland 4, Houston 3, moving to the 9th. To the top of the 9th inning, and the Athletics are 19-11 in 1-run games this year. They don't care about that. They've got their hats in place. They can see a bottom of the 9th inning rally coming. Maxwell, Martinez, and Barnes due up for the Astros in the last of the 9th inning as Wesley Wright works the top half. Coco Crisp opened the game with a double. He was stranded at third. He also has a walk tonight. So with this 1-run ball game, and Chris Young on deck. Young with a triple and a homer. Wesley Wright wanted to plow right through this Oakland lineup and give the Astros a shot at doing what no team has been able to do this year, and Grant Balfour a blown save. Little chopper goes back to the pitcher. 1 pitch, 1 out. As we promised earlier in the game, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite, showing you Chris Young back on May 24th, coming to Minute Maid Park and hitting a long ball.
And tonight it's Josh Reddick who, along with Young, plays the long ball game. This is a big one as it took the A's from a run down, put them a run ahead. And Josh Reddick has had a tough season, but kind of finds things a little more fun here this evening.
And Young homer was off Jose Veras, one of 3 hits he had that night in a big win. And now Jose Cisnero comes in. 4-3 Oakland, back in a moment. Bring in pitcher number 5 of the night. He is right-hander Jose Cisnero. He'll be facing Chris Young, who's 2 for 4 in this game, a triple and a homer. Cisnero's 2-1. His ERA is 3.05.
For Jose, it doesn't matter. Lefties, righties at the plate, just about the same batting average against. Nice ERA at 3.05. He has proven to have an arm that could someday be legitimately late in the bullpen for the Astros.
Facing a man who has a career batting average of better than 400 at Minute Maid Park. Young tripled in the 5th. He homered in the 7th. That homer made it 3-2 Houston. And the Reddick homer made it 4-3 Oakland. Showing bunt that time, and it's ball 1 from Cisnero. Wesley Wright in 1 inning, allowing 1 hit, 1 run. Had no walks, no strikeouts. There's the night for CY. Chris Young now has 30 runs batted in 22 games at Minute Maid Park. 1-1. Chris growing up in this area in Bel Air. And Jared Cosart, who grew up in this area, will pitch tomorrow night for Houston. Jared Parker will be his mound opponent. The finale of this homestand will be Wednesday. Bud Norris shoots for win number 7. And that's a 110 start. This ball right there to make it 2-2.
Learn to repeat that one and you've got something.
That's a great pitch to master, right? That's #1 objective for a pitcher. Mastering that particular fastball in that location. He missed with it that time, and it's 3-2. Cisnero, a former starting pitcher, brought some good velocity to this late inning roll out of the bullpen. Popped up behind the plate. Castro watches it go back out of play. So 3-2. Braves beat the Mets with 2 in the 9th, 2-1. Jordan Walden got his 4th win, beating Bobby Parnell with save number 28 from Craig Kimbrell. Chris Johnson 0 for 4 tonight. He's hitting .328 with the Braves. This ball struck him out. Stay tuned for Postgame Live. It's presented by MD Anderson, making cancer history. That was strikeout number 7 for Astros pitchers tonight. Jed Lowry is 0 for 4 in this game. Justin Maxwell is set to lead off the bottom of the 9th inning, with Martinez and Barnes scheduled to follow him. Race strike 1. Tigers lead the White Sox 6-2. They're in the top of the 9th inning at U.S. Cellular. Tigers just keep rolling along with all that offense. 0-2. They're 10 games over 500. They've had some closing issues, but tonight Max Scherzer won his 14th. And Balfour warming up. Scherzer is 14-1. He beat Chris Sale, who's 6-9.
We talked tonight about on-base percentage versus slugging, and 2 sluggers in the heart of that order in that great offense for Detroit.
Lowry with a fly ball to Barnes makes it a 1-2-3 9th inning, and now the Astros come up with Balfour coming in with a 4-3 lead. is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. And by Progressive. Visit progressive.com today. Oakland has turned this game around. The Astros had a 3-0 lead. The Athletics got a 6th inning run on a sac fly, a Young homer in the 7th to close to within 1. A go-ahead 2-run shot in the 8th from Josh Reddick, his 5th home run of the year. And now they call on Grant Balfour, their closer, who is 25 for 25 in saves this year. He has a streak of 43 straight saves converted going back to last year, Ash.
Australian-born pitcher. And boy, has he turned it into a very successful career. Pitched some years down in Tampa Bay under Joe Madden. And now with the Oakland A's, boy, he has become the man. 25 for 25, you won't find that very often.
He's the only closer in the major leagues without a blown save this year. His streak of 25 straight. The second longest streak in Oakland history. Dennis Eckersley had 36 consecutive saves in '92. This is the third most 25 saves at the All-Star break in Oakland history. Not given up a run in his last 8 games. Became an all-star.
May I say, Brownie, when you're on a ball club like the Oakland A's, a team that's winning a lot, and they don't win by a lot, they have not scored a ton of runs this year. Again, just very average in that category, and you pitch very well. You're going to be in those tight games where the save opportunities present themselves, but you got to close them out, and that's what he's done extremely well.
Sean Doolittle in 1 inning allowed no hits, no runs, had a walk, struck out 2. Now the Astros have Justin Maxwell leading it off in the bottom of the 9th inning. He doubled, stole 3rd, and scored in the 2nd. He's 1 for 3. Josh Donaldson, the 3rd baseman, stays close to the bag. Outfielders very deep for J-Max. There you see the way Oakland lines up its players defensively. Brett Wallace is in the on-deck circle to pinch hit for J.D. Martinez. Brandon Barnes due up 3rd. In the dirt for ball 1 to Maxwell. Balfour has 4 saves against the Astros in 5 appearances. And the other game was just for work in an 11-2 Oakland win. Gave up a pinch homer to Rick Ankiel in getting one of those saves in Oakland back on the 17th of April, but had a big enough lead so that Oakland won at 7-5. It's 2-0. Astros trying to avoid a 6th loss in a row, and it would be 17 of 21 in the loss column if they fail to turn it around here in the home 9th inning. They've lost 11 straight to Oakland. That's called a strike. That makes it 2-1. A generous call from Mark Wegner.
It's where hitters turn to the umpire and say he doesn't need help.
Balfour was 24 of 26 in saves last year. He appeared 75 times. And the slider gets into strike 2.
Well, you can see with that slider, maybe a big piece of the puzzle as to why Balfour has been so successful this year. That was tight and sharp.
It really was. Tough to pick up that pitch. Maxwell to left center field. Coming in for it, Young. 1 out for Balfour. The Astros have not had a hit since the 4th inning. Oakland retired 10 consecutive Houston hitters until the leadoff walk in the 8th to Altuve. Brett Wallace is the pinch hitter now for J.D. Martinez. Brett's had a good showing since returning from AAA Oklahoma City. .217 for the season, 5 homers, 16 runs batted in. He's had 92 major league at bats. He's 0 for 1 as a pinch hitter with 1 RBI. But since he has returned, though, from Oklahoma City, he's been about a 300 hitter. That's strike 1 to Wallace. He's safely in 13 of 18 games since he came back, and 11 of his 19 hits have gone for extra bases, including a home run over the weekend against Seattle. Looks at that one, and it's 0-2 for Balfour. Well, he connected in the 8th inning Friday night. Lefty Oliver Perez. Foul. Quite a run for Balfour. Minnesota signed him in '97 as a free agent from Australia. Born in Sydney. Had arthroscopic right knee surgery in spring training this year.
A lot of guys are going to ask to have that surgery next year.
Yeah. Left-handed hitters hit 157 against him last year, and he strikes out Wallace, 2 outs.
Attacked Brett early in the count with a slider and then comes upstairs with a heater.
Strikeout number 10 for Oakland pitching tonight. Astros postgame live coming up next, presented by MD Anderson. Brandon Barnes hoping to prolong that show a little bit. He's 1 for 3. Matt Dominguez is on deck. It's in for strike 1. This game started so well for the Astros. They led 3-0 after 3. They had a lot of energy.
Dallas Keuchel was good.
6 innings, 1 run for Keuchel.
Left after 88 pitches. I'm kind of curious as to why that might have been the case.
It's 0-2. Astros bullpen has a record of 9-21. 21 saves in 33 opportunities. Oakland has come from behind against that bullpen after Keuchel left with the 3-1 lead. Foul ball by Barnes keeps him in the count at 0-2. Bob Melvin's club got up off the deck after losing the first 2 in Anaheim to the Angels, and then shut out the Angels yesterday. A 1-2 record on the road trip so far. And could consider this a nice come from behind win if Balfour can nail it down. And he does, getting a strikeout to end this ball game. And Oakland goes to 58-41 and maintains its first place standing in the AL West. Chris Young comes back to Houston again and has a triple and a homer, helping bring the Athletics from behind. Josh Reddick with the game winner, a 2-run shot in the 8th inning. Final score, Oakland 4, Houston 3.